Good evening. It is Monday, June 23rd, 2025, and this is a meeting of the Southborough Planning Board. The Planning Board is now in session. I hear me over there. Yep. The first item on the agenda, was that me too? No, I think the first item on the agenda is subdivision rules and regulations update. I can't get myself to mute.
When you talk now, does it say something else?
Test.
You connected to the, you don't want to be on microphone, period. So. It's still picking up.
Yeah, it won't let me mute on here.
Oh, you're not even on audio here. You don't, no, you're fine. It's hers.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry. Technical difficulties. Sorry. Subdivision rules and regulations update. Bill Cundiff, the DPW superintendent, had mentioned there were some things in our regulations that were out of date that he'd like to update, and he's been sending things when he thinks of them. Alan had agreed to take on this task, and I thought we'd just leave this on here and update and see where we are.
I think that's a great idea. I was mentioning to Debbie just a moment ago, that I haven't had much of a chance to connect with Bill other than email. His schedule didn't work with mine and vice versa. So this week, I'm going to reach out and try to set up some sort of a process. I think getting all the things coming in as they're top of mind is great, because that way things won't get forgotten, so it's cool. But I'm going to try to make some headway on that this week, and then, again, try to set up a process so it's a little more defined. So.
Perfect. Ms. Houlihan?
Yeah, again, Alan, thank you for taking most of this on. The one thing he made a comment on in his notes was A&R suggestions, so it would be interesting, because A&R is kind of MGL, so I don't know what he would do from an A&R perspective.
So that is subdivision, under subdivision, and I have some comments on
Okay.
A&R. Mr. Murray?
Yeah, Alan, I agree. Thanks for taking it. It seems like a monumental task. One thing I did is I looked to see what our rules and regs look like online right now, and I don't know whether it was just posted in 2023 or it's from 2023, but it looks a little older. But there's some things I think that other sections that, as we're going through and maybe taking Bill's suggestions, I thought a lot of his suggestions were very good, but I think probably we should maybe take a look at, see if there's other areas as well. But I love that Bill comes to us with, kind of lived experience and is, giving us the best that he has. So thanks for taking that on, and look forward to working with you on that.
Thank you. So my question on the A&R, so Bill had suggested looking at Douglas, which I did, and it's the same as ours. It's pretty much from the subdivision regs under Mass General Law. So what I was wondering is if we would think it would be helpful under A&R to put those 5 things that we need to make sure that each plan has before we endorse an A&R, right in the regs, so we don't have to go like digging through to try and find the A&R handbook every time. Okay, so I'll send, and then the other thing was, it says 14 days, but that's now 21 days to turn that around. So I'll send you the edits I made.
Great, thank you.
Oh, and Lisa, thank you, Marnie. Ms. Braccio.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. I have nothing further to add other than to thank Alan and Mimi. I think those are great changes for the A&R. And I think if we start going through the zoning code, we all know it's a monumental task. So I think as we do it in baby steps, I think town meeting will be receptive to the changes and, you know, we can move Southborough ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to be clear, the subdivision rules and regulations, we can approve at a public hearing. It doesn't need to go to town meeting. But all the next things do. So thank you, Alan, and we'll continue plugging along. The next item on the agenda, zoning updates, ADU status update. Ms. Houlihan.
Sure, so I took on the task to review the ADU. So what we're trying to do and what we will present at the special town meeting, I think if we're going to get into the warrant for November 3rd, is to basically administratively update the ADU bylaw. Currently, we have it referenced as an accessory apartment, so we'd be updating some language. So I went through the entire code to find any references to our current bylaw and then to weave in the state MGL ADU bylaw without any big changes, as we heard from town meeting. So I think it was really just to kind of correct definitions and updates. So I made the first attempt. I sent that over to Mimi, and so we have a cleaned up. What's showing on the screen now is kind of the high-level overview of what we've approached in the box on top, and then all the sections that it would be following. I think what we should probably do is have our own planning board review the suggested changes, and then put it over to zoning to make sure that they also are in alignment, because as you know, we kind of fell apart at the town meeting where we had a difference of opinion that we didn't necessarily anticipate. So I think as long as the team from zoning board can review and we're all aligned to this, we can kind of go in with a united front. And I don't think anyone's, unless you've read it, I don't know if anyone's ready to comment on it. I don't think it went in until like late Friday.
Thank you, Marnie. Ms. Houlihan. Mr. Maria.
Thank you, Marnie. I know I only had the chance to take a quick look, but I think, you know, this is a pretty easy one for town meeting. Hopefully, we can just get up and say that they're administrative changes only. I think that's what you limited to. I found only like that one example where there's like trying to, maybe there's a little interpretation, but I'm sure we can work that out. So I think the town will, you know, hopefully accept it because it's now there's direction for people that, you know, need to go to the code and find ADU. They'll find it. So thank you for taking it on too. I think it was looking good.
Thank you, Mr. Belniak.
Thank you for taking that on. I don't think that's no small amount of work either. I have not looked at it in detail. That's one of the things I need to do this week, and I'll provide any comments through the email to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Braccio, thank you. I told you, Lisa, I was going to keep forgetting you.
That's okay. I am forgetful, so that's good, Mimi. Thank you. Marty, thank you for doing this. I thought you did a great job on this, and I'm sure it took quite a bit of time to do it. So I have no further comments on it other than to say thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I have a couple of comments. I think it's a good idea to remove that percentage, not more than however 5% of units, because for the first time since this bylaw came in, I don't know, in the 90s, Lara took that on to see how many we actually had, what percentage we were at, and we're at like 1%. So I think we should just get rid of that, because it hasn't been enforced, it hasn't been looked at, and it's just counterproductive. And the other thing, I would leave that 20%, 25% of the floor area that's in the special permit now. Otherwise, we'll get ADUs that are, you know, bigger than the house, bigger than the primary.
So I'll revise those, and we can update that. And then, so the clean version currently, you'll see still has like track changes and yellow highlights just for comments for the planning board. I think everything else is really straightforward. So I'll make those revisions. And then Deb, did you send your comments on the question that you had?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so if you want to just send it over, and then we have till like July 11th or something. When's our next meeting?
14.
14th. So we can work interim, and then maybe July 14th, we send it over to zoning. Once we kind of agree that night that we're in a good place, and then send it for their comments.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So is everyone in agreement with leaving that 25% of the floor area of the primary dwelling in that's in the special permit now?
I'd have to go take a look again to get
Okay,
refreshed, but yeah.
all right. So we can discuss that again on the 14th. Thank you, Marnie.
Can I just add that the warrant is open? I forwarded an email to everybody. Okay, and I think it's going to close September 9th. Something like that. So I can put placeholders in for when we, at the planner's report, we can just bullet those placeholders.
Okay, so this would be one.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda, under zoning updates, is Industrial Park District expanded uses. And we had started this last summer, I think, and we just ran out of time. We were working with we had a zoning working group, and things kind of got led astray on that, so we didn't really get to this for town meeting, but we said we wanted to have this for the fall. And what we were doing there, our industrial park district is very, very limited in the uses that are allowed there, like house for night watchmen, things that I have not seen come up since I've been on the board. So we were hoping to expand it to allow more businesses in that area. And Marnie went through and found all these other uses. Do you want to speak to those?
Yeah, so I mean, commend Alan. I think Alan tried to run for the campaign last year, right? And I think it was just a citizen campaign to really kind of review what's happening. There was that fitness center that had to move because it was not appropriately permitted to be using the space. And then looking at our bylaws, like our bylaws were really antiquated, as you just mentioned, the night watchman. So what we're trying to do is propose new uses in the industrial park zoning district. And so it looks like it's still in kind of a state of here's potential new uses, but it's not necessarily in bylaw language. I do think we have to get it to a bylaw and get it in front of the town. So I would like to have another placement, a warrant article for November. I'm happy to take this on too and actually write it into the new, like into language.
So there was a draft of it in bylaw form.
From the, like 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other addition that I would want to add is I was speaking with Marguerite Landry from zoning, select board, and we were talking about data centers, and that data centers utilize a lot of open space, and it could be a good use for an industrial park use, and it's not, data centers weren't necessarily in there. So I would like to include data centers. And if we think about AI and the amount of energy AI is going to be using and what's going to be required for data centers, I think we'll see expanded use. Unlikely in Massachusetts because our electric rates are so high, but I think to be able to at least afford availability to those in the industrial zone could be a good utilization of space. So I'm happy to either help out on the working zone, the working committee, Mimi, I know you were in there.
I think we're just doing it
Okay.
now.
Oh, we're just doing it now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to kind of take that off your hands and just advance it a little bit more.
Sure.
And just if we can talk about data centers, if that's something, and then anything else, we could kind of handle it maybe the same way we're doing the ADU is iterate, through us individually, not on group emails, and then present it at planning board meetings.
Perfect.
Okay.
I hope you never get a job. Mr. Maria.
Thank you again, Marnie. I guess I liked this list. I know that you came up with this for us some time ago, and I looked at them, the uses, the potential uses. I guess the ones that I'm a little bit worried about are anything that, these neighborhoods are very close next to industrial park areas, so anything that's going to be, making noise or requiring refrigeration trucks or delivery. I don't know about some of them, like the last mile. I know that, for example, Westborough has the Amazon Fulfillment Center, that's the last mile. And I think that, even though they're like vans and things that are leaving out of there, there's trucks that have to deliver the products there. So I know that they did do like a sound study in order, to have a baseline. So I'm thinking about it from the perspective of, like many of these are very, very good uses. It's just the ones that I think could be problematic with making noise, an overhead noise, and it's really industrial noise. And as you know, we have a Board of Health policy and a Board of Health guideline. I'm looking to do something more so that we have something in maybe site plan or something, but we're not really protected from that right now. So that's anything that's like, I have a question about the manufacturing, and, I think Al had put in no noise at the property, which I do agree with. But how will that be monitored? We can't expect neighbors to have any kind of sound machines, meters. The police don't want sound meters. So what that means is that the neighbors might have to, hire like a noise consultant if something goes wrong. So I think there was also a question on one of those, so whether or not it should be under site plan. I think it should definitely be under site plan. I think that was number 9 on the list, or should be number 9, or should it be under site plan, or something like that?
I think that was Lara's.
That's Lara's list?
La-
Oh, I'm getting them conflated? Okay. So that's probably my concern also with Lara, is pretty much the same. I think that we should protect the neighbors, especially where we've got scenic roads, in some places abutting, and just neighborhoods abutting. So if anything that is going to bring in large trucks that can be running overnight, I think that's, I'm not supportive of that kind of thing. But the rest, I think they're great uses. I think that's really, really nice list.
So Debbie, one of the things that concerns me is the building department and the bandwidth that code enforcement officer has as the building commissioner, because right now he's part-time. And I'm not sure that's going to change in the near future. So I know we had issues with like enforcing light, never mind noise, and that whole calamity of whose responsibility it is. So I just want to point that out. It's the same concern.
Yeah, that's a better way to phrase it, because we don't want to put the burden on anybody, neighbors or our, we want it all to work out, right? So I think we can figure that out, but I think I'm not going to be supportive of the manufacturing sites.
Ms. Braccio, I'm not going to forget you this time.
Hi, sorry about that. So, again, I know a ton of work has gone into this, and Marnie did a ton of work. And in looking at the list from the draft language for the additional IP uses, I think one of the things I may not necessarily be interested in having in there are private schools, nurseries, or kindergartens. I mean, I would think our industrial zones are so small that I would like to see businesses go in that can actually help the tax rate for citizens. And then I just had a question on, and I guess, Marnie, you would ask this question for multifamily housing for the elderly. Why is that in the industrial? And again, maybe these questions were answered and it's because I'm looking at an old sheet. I don't know if we ever found the answer to why that would be in there.
Yeah, I don't think it was thought out, and that's why it's there, but I don't think it makes sense. And the same with the accessory apartments.
Yes. Okay, and then,
Or conversion of two-family home, one family into two families also.
yeah. And just the last piece was on 1/23/25, data processing and record storage was added to the draft that I have. Yeah, I think we have a good start on a list, and I look forward to continuing forward and whittling this down. I think some of these things may be a tough sell for town meeting, but it's certainly warranted of additional discussion. Thank you.
Can I just add a point of
Thank you.
Just point of clarity, data processing is different than data centers. Data centers are like large areas for storage, like literally storage. There's no actually manual processing or analytics done on site. It's really just it's kind of like thinking about like solar farms. It's kind of the same thing. It's like huge facilities for data processing, but it's not the analytics. It's literally the energy and the resources. So it is distinctly different, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Belknap?
Thank you. This looks really good. I remember submitting some suggestions earlier on. A lot of these edits generally make sense to me. There was one I had a question on, and I'm going to forget it before I stop talking. I lost my train of thought. It wasn't major. It wasn't like a showstopper. It was more just getting clarification.
You're too young for that.
Yeah, I wish that were the case. I remember what I wanted. It wasn't an edit. It was while I heard the comment that a lot of this might be a hard sell at town meeting, one of the comments that, Marnie, you would put in there was a lot of these uses are suggested by a compilation of, and there's like several surrounding towns. So it's not as if what we would be proposing is completely foreign to it. It's actually, hey, this is what some of our neighbors are doing, even portions of what some of our neighbors are doing, not even wholesale. So something to keep in mind as we craft that narrative for when we eventually bring it up. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. To your point, Debbie, I think that there's, so Industrial Park, there are like a few of them. There's the Dell EMC, Park Central, Ken's. There was over by St. Martin, which we overlaid for MBTA. And then there's the National Grid parcel next to the dump.
Mhm.
So I think most of those don't really abut neighborhoods except for Park Central. And I'm wondering if we can somehow add to the code that industrial uses can't access through, residential zones, because Park Central's only frontage is on Bantry Road. It has no frontage on Route 9, so I'm wondering if there's some way to do that to protect the residences, because the others really don't abut.
So I'm looking at the map right now. Is it because you're saying that the parcels are so big that where any of these uses might be located wouldn't be up against a neighborhood? Because for example, Tara, that's not it is actually, but Tara's a scenic road.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the parcel that abuts residential the most, the industrial park.
Yeah. There's there's a couple other roads, right? There's Mount Vickery, there's Deerfoot. Yeah, you're right, not that many. I would love it if we could do something like that, because that's been, one of my concerns is I think that we should be using the larger arterials, and specifically if it's Route 9 or 30 or, how can we write that into the code?
I'll look into it. I know there's
Yeah.
been case law, and specifically in Framingham, that a project lost an appeal because it was a commercial property that entered through a residential, so.
So
So I don't know if they have something in their code. I'll have to look, but I know this came up before, and I looked into it. I'll dig through again.
I can send you some case law. So Southborough has our own example with Long Cadillac. It's maybe not the greatest example, but there was a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals actually brought a suit against the town because of the egress onto Middle Road, and it was remanded back to the ZBA. And now we know that, I don't think there's
Emergency.
it's emergency only, yeah. I mean, it's been one of my things for a long time, because I think it's unsafe. So that would be really, really great if we can look into that.
Okay. Anything else? The next item on the agenda, streamline permitting. There were a couple things under that. Lara, the ZBA administrator, had sent an email about the office buildings on Route 9. They've been seeing a lot of special permits to add additional uses which are allowed in the zone, but each change of use requires a special permit. And she was hoping to make those, any use by right could be in those buildings by right, which I don't have a problem with. I just am curious how to write the bylaw. I've looked at some towns and didn't really find anything yet, but I'd be happy to take that on. And to Ms. DeMaria's earlier point, I think we still need site plan review.
Yeah.
Ms. Houlihan.
No, I appreciated Lara's comments. I think also we heard from Leah around kind of thinking about streamlining generally, to Alan's point, around like what other towns are doing and how people how things are enforced, and it really depends on how it's written. So as we think about undertaking some of these, general and administrative updates or significant changes, like really thinking about how other towns do it, so we're a little bit more in sync. So I completely agree, and I would agree with Laura that to have special permits through everything, but I agree, site plan would be still warranted, but if we can streamline it, makes sense. Thanks.
Ms. DeMaria.
Well, I'm supportive too. Thank Laura for bringing the idea forward. So just so that I understand, we could have an approved use and a second approved use, but if you change the use, that has to go to the ZBA? So that's what they're seeing? Yeah, it seems,
I've been talking to Lara about this, and what's happening is that a lot of these office buildings have had special permits from way back.
Right.
And some of them were clever at the time and said multiple uses, and they listed the multiple uses, and they were listed on the site plan with the parking calculation, which is the big concern. But others were just said office use only. So what's happening is with the transition to all these different uses coming in to the Ferris properties or the DePietri properties or other office buildings, they have to keep going back to the ZBA. So I was telling them, the developers, why don't you just go either amend your special permit and say all uses allowed, or the multiple uses they wanted to, do it once. That way they don't have to keep going back to the ZBA. They still have to come to site plan regardless, but it was to streamline the more than one use on a lot for some of these bigger office buildings now. And that was the whole intent of that.
yeah, thank you. And I know that she has like a lot of different, she's proposing several different districts. I would like to take a closer look at like Business Village and Business Highway, and and generally I'm supportive, but specifically with Business like Village, does that make sense? Is that the same as really industrial? She's got Industrial Park. Is there any special consideration there? But I think it's a great idea. We should be using those buildings to the fullest.
Ms. Braccio.
Thank you. I'm also very supportive of making changes, and Mimi, thank you for spearheading this.
That was Lara.
Well, yeah, I meant Laura, but you were going to continue down the path of looking
Oh,
into
yeah,
this.
oh, yeah. I forgot
thank
about
you for
that
that.
already. Look at that. Thanks, Lisa. Mr. Belniak.
I'm supportive. I have nothing net new to add, so.
And then the last thing under this was something that I've talked about for a while, but we haven't really done yet, is it was a suggestion way, way back. There was a whole zoning rewrite that was proposed, and there was a zoning advisory committee that worked for like 6 years, and then the whole thing kind of blew up. But I've been going back through that, like the diagnostic, looking at things there to see if there's anything that we can pull out of there, and some of the bylaw updates from there to see if there's anything that is still, I would think, valid now. And one of the things was a suggestion that special permits that require site plan review have the planning board be the special permit granting authority, so then there's just a one-stop instead of going to the zoning board for a special permit and then coming to the planning board for the site plan. It would just be a one-stop before the planning board, because we're the, although the special permit granting authority is shared between planning board and zoning board, we're the only entity that does site plan review. And this, I don't think, this wouldn't be for fall, this would be for a special town meeting if we want to move forward with it. And it would just be a whole bunch of just code changes, not, it would look scary, but not really. Ms. Houlihan.
So while I love the idea of streamlining it, I feel like that was one of the big issues that surfaced, is the people feeling that planning board was trying to do something at the town meeting, that we tried to change that through the accessory dwelling units. And so I think it's going to require a lot more advocacy, education, and awareness than a special town meeting would warrant. And I think if we have 2 on there, I think 2 will be good. But I would say we prepare for regular town meeting in April and like just start an education and awareness. But I would support it, and I think we just need to get, a buy-in from zoning on what areas would make most sense to streamline it for people that are filing.
Ms. DeMaria.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think we should maybe ask, like, the developers and others who utilize our code, where they, I'm sure Karina hears it all day long, to be honest, but we know where some of those sections are, and we have this consultant in that group. But it would be kind of useful, I think, in this outreach process to find out, like, we know some of the developers that come in again and again, and they run into the, same headaches. It would just be good to get their opinions, too. I think it's great.
Ms. Braccio.
Thank you. I also think it's great. And I agree, Deb, that I think we should reach out to a diverse group of people and, try to come up with what works best. Thank you.
Mr. Belniak.
I'm certainly supportive of the streamlining and updating. I do think making the planning board the special permit granting authority is going to run into the same issue as we do with ADU. If I recall from the meeting, that was like the number 1 or number 2 sticking point. And I know that we're going through a process now to do that. So just like you said, Marnie, education, awareness, advocacy. And I think for ADUs, we are proposing to make this one change for this one sort of use. This is a lot more. So while conceptually it's still the same idea, it's going to appear to be a lot more. So I think spring town meeting, regular town meeting might be the better time, because it might even take that long to do. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you. So I'll work on that and have something for the next meeting, and then we can talk about outreach and education. Okay, that's it for zoning. On to the next discussion item, open space monitoring follow-up.
So based on Deb's suggestion of having some sort of composite list of all the open space monitoring, Karina was amazing and went back to 2018 and provided me a flash drive with all of the Lucas reports, Lucas engineering reports. I have subsequently created, I've only done 2018 through 2021, an Excel spreadsheet that basically provides the report, the year, the property, the overview, the recommendations, and then whatever follow-up. So I think just being able to have it ready will have kind of like, I guess, like a pseudo Excel database, right? And then we need to decide what we do with that. There's, in the earlier days, I think there's many properties that probably, like, they had not even been built out yet in 2018, like Barn Hollow hadn't been completed, so some of those might come back to 2026. So I think once that's done, I'll provide it for Dropbox, and then maybe we have a discussion on what do we do with it now. So at least we'll have a composite index. So that's step one.
Mr. Maria.
That's awesome, Marnie. I actually forgot about that, and I think it's really important. Are we looking at the Lucas letter as well? Yeah, I mean, I know somebody, for example, in Westborough, that she asked me one time, like, I got this letter, and it says that I'm dumping things, in this area I'm not supposed to be. And she was upset by it, didn't understand it, and things like that. And, so I think that what Lucas has provided is, I think, a really good starting point. The letter that she got, that she showed me from Westborough, had a lot more teeth. It was really like, don't expect to do anything with the town until you come over and you tell us what you're going to do, clean it up, and you need to give us a timetable that you're going to have it done. That's why she was pretty upset. But I think Lucas did a really nice job. They always do a nice job. But I would say that's maybe a little bit of a suggestion, because I think it's maybe a little too nice. I think we should say when they need to have it cleaned up by. There's also a couple definitions in here. Let's see if I can find it really quickly. I think it's like 1, 2, and 3, or major, minor. I don't know. Now I can't find it. I don't think, anyway, when I was looking at it, level 1, level 2, level 3, I think that's not specific enough. Like when I read it, I was like, okay, level 1 is not level 2 and not level 3. That's not really descriptive, so I'd like to see a little bit more. But maybe that's just nitpicky, but I think that that should have just a little bit, like, is it solid waste? Is it, what is it? But the letter and this template letter, I think, are really nice. There's a section on the bottom that says, I think it's to the homeowner, that, open, I can't even find it right now, but something to the effect of, that open space is, vital to the environment, to the wildlife. It's also vital to our property values. Like, nobody wants a dump in their backyard. So I think we should also just make it a little bit more real and say, be a good neighbor and clean up your yard. And I think it's a balance, because I also think that people may not even know or be aware. So this is an awareness campaign. They just don't even know. They stick things in their backyard and they think it's their property. So it's a balance. I think on balance, Lucas did a really nice job.
Can I ask two questions while you're on your topic? First one is, in the Westboro example, did that come through conservation? Where did the letter generate?
So it did come from conservation.
Okay, so
Yep.
conservation is known to have more teeth in their compliance because of the Clean Water Act.
Yep.
Just so, and number two, when we do get calls, there are people who are aware, but there are also just as many who aren't aware they have the open space. That's why when we have new developments like Chestnut Meadow subdivision, and now coming up with 96 Mountain Vickery Ruby Estates, we have them on the list for a baseline for the monitoring. And it also, because we send out a letter to all of the abutters, the property owners and the abutters that are adjacent, and we get a couple calls here and there from them as well. So that's like a beginning point of outreach, I think.
Yeah, thank you. And I would just say, what to do with the Excel spreadsheet is, we take a glance at it when we're looking at like permitting and stuff like that, because I think, just like we put in our site plan that, someone has to have, follow all rules and regulations, and that's part of our, I think that should be part of it as well. They have to comply.
Ms. Braccio?
Thank you. Marty, thank you for doing the spreadsheet. I look forward to seeing it. When I reviewed this letter, I thought it was great, but I would ask the board to consider more of an educational, using this as an educational opportunity as well. I think if we went subdivision by subdivision, I think most people don't look at their deeds. They don't know that they have open space on their properties. And I think that there might be a way to do this, that, you can send a letter, maybe this letter or not, we can craft something as an educational tool, just letting people know they have open space, and here's a copy of the, the subdivision and, where the open space might be. And, I think some of these issues might resolve themselves with doing that alone, just making people aware. So I think it's a big educational campaign before we kind of send out letters, because I think people are just going to freak out when they get the letters. So just some things to think about. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Belniak?
Thank you. Echoing everyone else, Marty, can't wait to see an actual database of this, which will make future use of it that much easier. And no other comments other than the ones that have been stated, so.
Thank you. One thing, so we do have the deed research database, which we need to update. We haven't, the newer subdivisions haven't been added in, and it would be good to add the, reviews of each of those open space parcels for the subdivisions in there, too.
Also, the site plans. So not just subdivisions, but we have a lot of open space areas in the site plans that we want to add to that deed research database. And we do have a contract for that. It's coming up right after fiscal year. I'll be able to pay attention to the ARPA projects.
Oh, to get that updated, put all the.
Yeah.
And we do have, Jesse and I are on the committee, and we need someone from open space. I don't know if Colleen was going to
Reach out to
reach
Freddie.
out to the chair.
I think she did, and I'm not sure she wanted to continue, but
I don't know about her, but someone on her
someone else.
committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did, Colleen did send an email through Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie was not interested, but she was going to ask her co-chair, I guess, and I haven't heard from them.
Oh, okay. And the other thing I would suggest is sending this to open space see if they have comments on this.
Okay.
And then, Lisa, would you like to take a crack at making this letter nicer?
I would love to do that. Absolutely. I absolutely. Everyone else has enough homework on their table, so I would be happy to do that, Mimi. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Lisa. Because I think it would be to start with that, to educate people and let them know that there's open space on their property. And then, before we start sending out nasty letters, violation letters.
Be happy to.
All right, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is another discussion item, an A&R, 38 Turnpike Road.
Just before you move on, you did know there were two letter samples?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just making sure.
One is like an awareness you have open space on your lot. The other one is we found, or
Encroachment.
someone said they were
Notice.
encroachments, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So 38 Turnpike Road, A&R. We had asked town council about this.
I just
And
want
I
to
don't
point
think we've
out,
heard it from him.
Peter said he had to attend something in another town and was going to race over here to address this, just to let you know, if he's not here yet, maybe we can
Oh, move this?
move this, yeah. I don't think anybody else for that A&R is here. Peter was spearheaded that.
Okay, we can do that. So we're going to postpone the A&R and move on to public hearing, 10 Turnpike Road, modification to major site plan approval.
And we have an extension request signed by the applicant's representative asking to continue without testimony to the July 14th. It's my understanding that they're working on fixes. They
Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, so very quickly before I make the motion, the decision due date would also need, right, it's there. Okay. So I make a motion for 10 Turnpike Road Storage Facility modification to major site plan approval to move to 7 PM, to continue the public hearing to 7 PM on Monday, July 14th.
And the lid as well. There's a modification for the lid as well, right? Are there two on the top of that? Does it only say modification to site plan?
It says
Just
modification.
Oh, that's
modification
right,
of
I'm
site
sorry,
plan.
I was
Yeah,
confusing it
it's
with
just
200.
10, yeah, just
This
10
is
Turnpike, yep.
I'm sorry.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
A second?
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes?
Brascio, yes.
Bellniak, yes?
I make a motion to extend the decision due date for the 10 Turnpike Road contractor facility modification to MSPA to July 18th, 2025.
A second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes?
Brascio, yes.
Bellniak, yes?
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing, 250 Turnpike Road, contractors yard building, special permit for lower impact development, and major site plan approval. And major site plan? Oh, okay. And on June 16th, we received submission number 7.
Let me just confirm. Yes, on or about June 16th, we received submission number 7, and there were no further reviews required by Fuss and O'Neill.
Niche.
Niche.
I'm sorry, Niche. I've been working with the other all day. I'm sorry, with Niche. I apologize. And the, here we are.
Here we
Sorry,
are.
I lost it.
Welcome.
Thank you. George Bonan on behalf of the applicant, FD 250 Turnpike LLC. I don't know if you had anything else to add. I submitted a cover letter with the revised plan changes, kind of highlighting the changes to the plan that we had discussed in prior hearings, and maybe 1 or 2 outstanding niche comments. And I believe we are at a place where the plan is now complete, and I don't think I have anything further to add. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Houlihan.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So my only comments looking through the plan was loading zone.
Mhm.
So you said it would be removed, but then on D6, L7, L8, and L9, it's still indicated as loading zone. And I just didn't know if that was just a part of, because those are older plans that didn't need to be revised. D6 was the detail sheet. It still has the old note about it would retain it if the waiver wasn't granted. L7, L8, and L9 just depict it as a loading zone. So I think that's more of a question to Mimi and Karina, if that can stay as is, or it has to be updated to show removed loading zone.
Well, it would be my recommendation that the plans are all accurate, so there's no confusion later.
Mhm.
Especially because there's so much going on at this site, you have the storage facility, now you have the contract, and then the 40B project coming through. It's probably best if they had consistently just updated. I know that some of those come from subs.
Yes, they do. They're different engineers from what we have in-house, so
Yeah,
I'd have to reach out to them to make those changes, and I'm happy to do so.
okay. That would be very helpful for the record and for your sake as well,
Mhm.
future.
So that was my only notation. I'm sure my planning board members have other notations, but that was the only thing that I detected. So thank you again for moving mountains.
Thank you. Mr. Maria.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to check in with you about what's left to do. So I think you're going to Concom, and are you doing other things?
Yes, no, it's just Concom in
Just
terms of the
Concom.
contractor's yard. I'm trying to think, actually, no, we're also in front of the Board of Health for the septic plan, but that's in front of Dennis Costello and the Board of Health, and they are going through it. They have our plans as they are now. In terms of the Concom, I am going to be in front of them on the 26th this week, and they'll basically decide if the change to our existing order of conditions can be done administratively, because it's basically just referencing this newer site plan versus the site plan from a year and a half ago, or whenever it was. They may do it administratively, or they may have to do it through public hearing, but that's what's going to be decided on the 26th, and that's the only thing that needs to be done at the Concom level at this point.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions for you tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Braccio.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for getting us to this point. I just have one question, and it has to do with, in the cover letter, regarding the moving of the standing sign. One of the items says the sign has been moved, and then in the summary beneath it, it says that it will be moved. Do you know when that is going to be moved? I drove by there yesterday, and it didn't look like it had been moved specifically yet.
Yes, no, and I'm sorry, to be clear, when I say has been moved, I meant in the plans. It will physically be moved very soon. This board is not the only one eager to have it moved. The state is also emailing us constantly, so rest assured that sign will be moved. It has not physically been moved yet, but we're developing plans right now to move it. It's a little more involved than you'd think, as it's going to require another foundation added, and it's next to a transformer, so it's being done. That's all I can say at this point.
Okay, thank you for the clarity. That was all I had.
And you want to keep your visual too, right? As you move it, you want to make sure you maintain so people can see it
Yes,
from both directions.
that's part of the difficulty too,
Yeah,
making
it's
sure.
narrow there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Thank you. And Mr. Belniak didn't attend enough hearings because he just got elected, so he is not participating in this. So back to me. So thank you. I see that the septic's been moved, there's snow storage, the ADA parking has been added back, there's been added screening. So the fence is required to be an opaque privacy fence, and it
Yes.
still lists as chain link, and the detail still says chain link?
I am happy to make that, so we're going to change it from chain link to privacy fence.
Right.
And I've said in the past, I think it might be appropriate to just recondition that in this new site plan approval
Yeah.
to make sure we're held accountable to it.
Yep,
And that is our intent, 100%,
Okay.
to put privacy slats there
okay.
instead of the mesh. I wasn't aware of it until you had brought it up, Chair Latrell, at a previous meeting.
Perfect. It was in the prior conditions,
I
and
know.
we will continue it through, but I think it's helpful if the plans match the conditions.
Absolutely, I agree. So I'll make that change, since I'm going to be making a couple changes to D6, L7, L8, and L9.
And my other question was in the general notes. It says there's no vernal pool on the site, but didn't they find obligate species, biological and physical conditions of a vernal pool?
So I think the note has changed a little bit. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it says something to the effect that there is no vernal pool on this site. However, a recent study was done on an adjacent site which showed the indication, or indicated that there was a vernal pool. And I think there was also a disclaimer that said, according to Mass Mapper, there is no vernal pool on the subject property. But a recent study was done on the adjacent site, which shows an indication of a vernal pool.
So, so the vernal pool is on this site, isn't it? Isn't it behind the storage building? Isn't it that?
It is,
detention
but
basin?
the property line, and I don't have, I'm not sure, Colleen's not here, but,
She is.
oh, she is, I'm sorry.
She's not virtual.
I'm here. You want to plan up?
If you don't mind, yes,
Submission
7, the site layout plan.
in the Dropbox.
And I can't speak to whether the vernal pool is actually shown on this, if it encroaches onto this property line or not, but the note says according to Mass Mapper, just for clarity.
No. So Mass Mapper wouldn't show a vernal pool unless it's certified, correct?
Correct. Well, actually, I can't say that. I'm unsure what it would show or not. I'm not.
I don't know
all right.
what Mass Mapper is.
Mass Mapper is a commonly used, maybe Karina can speak to it, but a commonly used website. It's a state website which shows streams, certain wetlands, topography, and it's widely used by engineers to kind of fill in data on plans. I don't know.
It's the state GIS mapping.
But
So,
would it show a vernal pool if it's not certified?
Sometimes, like in our GIS mapping, we show certified and potentially certified. So I'd have to check on the GIS, on the state GIS mapping to see if they have that option as well. But typically, our GIS mapping relies on that Mass Mapper
Mhm.
too. So that's something I'd have to check.
Could you pull up E1, Colleen?
Sure.
So isn't that the detention basin over there?
Yes.
And the property line is,
I
the
can't see
south?
the property line too well, I'm sorry.
Let's see if we can find it right here. So this is the property line, right?
Yep.
Right
Okay.
here of the existing conditions plan. And this is the wetland where the vernal pool is?
Yes. Colleen, could you go to S2, the site layout plan? Okay. The note itself, though, is not incorrect, but I'm happy to change it.
I'm wondering if,
George, do you know what note number it is? By any chance? Is it on,
I do not know what note number it
which,
is.
the notes?
yeah, is it on the general notes?
Yeah,
Okay.
D4.
So that reads, according to the Mass Mapper website, there are no endangered species habitats and no vernal pools on or adjacent to the site. However, a recent study by the project's wetland scientists revealed that the detention basin within the A wetland has some characteristics of a vernal pool. So they're saying it's a potential vernal pool?
At the time this was written, that's what the assessment was.
So it is a vernal pool.
So the study shows that it is,
Now, yes, it's
yeah.
literally a week ago, we
Yeah.
found out it was a vernal pool.
So that should probably be corrected.
What's that?
That should probably be updated on the plans.
Okay,
You've gotta
yes,
make
these
that
were,
tweak.
these plans were submitted prior to that
Oh, yeah,
determination.
I know, but since you've got a few little changes
Mhm.
that you're gonna help us with.
And while we're at few little
Sure.
changes, my OCD just had a heart attack here. We have the general notes, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 6, 7.
Fix the numerics.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. General notes, fix the numerics.
And for clarity, George, is D4 Note 2, that needs to be updated.
Yep.
And then we have to cite it, do you have to cite it on the actual vernal pool on the plan?
Now,
I don't think so.
No.
if we
Okay.
could, just so I'm not subjectively trying to decide what to put in that note, what would you like it to say? I guess just generally, like A1 has shown, detention basin A1 has shown characteristics of a vernal pool. Would that suffice?
That it is.
Or has been
deemed
deemed?
to be a vernal pool.
That's what the study says, right? It was deemed
Yeah.
vernal pool, so
I'm not sure if the word deemed was used,
I don't know if deemed.
but
was
I can
used,
go
but-
back to the study and just kind of regurgitate what the study reflects. Is that all right?
yeah, or send me an email with it, and I'll look at it, and we can hash out the right word.
It has the biological and physical characteristics of a vernal pool.
I like that.
Okay.
Can you source this study? Would you source the study on that? No?
So this was the Goddard, their wetland scientist, did this for the ZBA, I think.
Correct.
The ZBA asked for that for the 40B. And they're from, so I watched that meeting. So my understanding is that Goddard, who's your wetland consultant, and Lucas, who's the towns, are working to figure out how to mitigate the
That's correct.
detrimental effects on that.
Yes.
Okay.
So Marnie, you do have a point. Often, like, if you have your wetlands delineated, you say who did that, like what it's based on.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're gonna do the note, you might just reference the report,
Source Goddard.
like by Goddard, you know,
Yeah.
according
Yeah.
to that report. Because then later, if somebody comes up with a different report, you can determine which one is which,
Yep.
if they're conflicting or whatever. Sorry.
So those are the only new comments I have. I have some, the other question I was going to ask, and maybe this is something for conditions, but, so the 40B has the property line being moved?
Potentially. We don't know yet because, what we're proposing with the 40B right now is we are pushing the property line up on that site layout plan. However, that plan is not yet approved. Things may change. Townhomes may be moved or removed entirely. So I've said before that if property lines are moved, we will come back in for a modification to this site plan.
Okay, because that was my question, because some of that parking won't be screened when the
Right,
parking
yeah. It's
lot's
just,
moved.
we're working with the information we have today, and
Yep.
I don't want to speculate just yet.
You got a lot of balls in the air, I get it. A lot going on there. So my suggestion would be to continue this to the next hearing and have Karina have conditions for that. And if we could talk about conditions we'd like to see tonight, so then we can just sign off on that the next meeting.
If I could suggest, and I agree, I'm okay continuing it to a separate meeting, but I think it might be best if we close the public hearing at least this
Well,
week.
we can't discuss it
Oh,
once
you
the
can't
hearing's
discuss it
closed.
amongst
No.
yourselves?
No.
Okay.
And I have to have the chance to draft it
Mm-hmm.
for you, because I was hoping to do it for tonight, but I couldn't get there.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't accept any new information, so we wouldn't,
So if you want to
if there are any
negotiate some-
new suggestions other than what's discussed tonight that, to go into the decision, we wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I mean, we could have, and I'm not saying we can't do that, continue it, but we could always condition these 4 things in the decision as well.
I
This is me
prefer
just being
not.
eager to close the hearing, but giving you options. But I understand, we can continue it if that's,
I prefer to have the decision, because I think there's a lot more stuff in this.
okay.
Oh, and just one further question. So the building is 14,400 square feet,
No, it's 19,280, I believe.
so it's wrong on all the plan pages then.
Okay, then I'll correct that.
19,280.
But I'll take a look at it, but I don't want to be confusing the footprint, which is still 14.4, versus the gross area of the building. But I'll take a look at it and make sure if it's referencing gross floor area of the building, which is 19,280, I'll make sure that's reflected correctly, but the footprint of the building still remains 14,400.
Okay. I couldn't find, so I thought that you were going to add another story.
We are, yes. So that'll increase the gross floor area, but not the footprint.
But I couldn't find that referenced anywhere.
Okay.
All I saw
It
was the
wouldn't
14.
be on the site plan, typically.
No?
Site plan is just going to reference footprint. Correct me if I'm wrong. The architectural drawings typically reference the entire building's gross floor area.
So did the architecturals that you submitted initially reveal that, show that?
Well, at one point, we revised them when we
You
sent you
resubmitted them?
resubmittals,
So the-
revised the architectural drawings,
Right.
which
so-
reflect the correct gross floor.
And those will be reflected in the decision as a supplemental, they're not part of the site plan, but they're an added document that was provided. And we say that we received this one and it was revised through this, and then we keep the record copy of that. So
Mhm.
that-
Okay.
But to that point, Chair Latrell, I will go through the plans once again and just make sure that 14.4 is footprint, and if it references GFA, I'll make sure it reflects 19,280.
Okay, perfect. So I'd like to take public comment and then discuss conditions, if that's okay. Yes, sir.
John Palmer, 131 Parkerville Road. So just a question for you. What's the implication of A1 being a vernal pool on this site plan? Do we know that?
Well, just that it has special protections, and I think that the two, as I referred to earlier, the two wetland scientists are working to mitigate any adverse effects of the developments around it to that vernal pool. They don't want, so
But they're doing
they
that,
hope to maintain, the goal is that the vernal pool continues to be a vernal pool.
but they're doing that in reference to the 40B, which is a separate site plan. So the question is, how does that vernal pool affect this site plan?
So that vernal pool is over here, so that building's already in, so there's really nothing except for a tree going in over on this side. So there's no real site work over there, so there will be no effect from this site plan on the vernal pool.
Okay. Very good.
Thank
That's
you.
all.
And is there anybody online? We have one. No. All right. So for conditions, I'd like to have all the conditions from the previous, except for conditions that are specific to the outdoor storage. We won't need anymore. Like, there's not going to be a security gate.
No security.
No,
gate,
yeah,
right.
so that will go.
How would you phrase that? Are you just going, would you state it like all conditions, all existing conditions from the 2022, or the site plan approved in whatever date it was, blah, 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 2022, are restated here and reconditioned in this site plan, except for those conditions that conflict with,
I'm just going to list them.
you're going
all
to list them
again.
individually, okay,
And
thank you.
and that won't be there.
All right,
Yeah, or if there's something still
I got
partially
you.
related,
Thank you.
it'll be explained.
yeah, that's, thank you.
So there'll be no confusion.
The lighting conditions remain the same from
Mhm.
the previous. No exterior storage, which was a condition of the zoning board. Same hours, 6A to 10P? Is that
Yeah,
true?
yes.
No light to exceed 3,000 KCCT.
Correlated color temperature, yep.
Uses shall conform to those allowed in that zoning district. Office, storage, private garage. And then I'd like the board to reserve the right to revisit noise and light after a year to make sure there are no complaints. And those are what I have. Anybody else?
Just the clarity on the, I think it was an existing condition from 2022, was the privacy fence?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I had.
Mr. Murray?
You mentioned mine. Yeah, I was wondering about noise as well. As you know, that's one of my topics, so I think that would be fine. I think based on a couple of the other previous site plans, we don't really have standard language on noise or environmental control, right? So I think that Karina drafted one up for one of the recent.
I'm working on that one.
Yeah, can we just make, I'd be interested, whatever you've come up with, to, begin putting them into all the site plans, not signaling out anything here for this particular property, but, many of our developers are developing right near neighborhoods, so I think it's a good idea that we have, minimized intrusion of noise, sound, odor, anything like that, because we don't have nuisance law. I don't believe we have a nuisance law here in Southborough. But I think that one that you're focused on right now, Karina, is that one's noise in particular, right? Noise and
Like,
noise and light. I think that would be fine.
yeah, I was going to craft something that's similar to the light.
Yep.
1 year time frame for re-review in case there's any complaints or if
Yep.
there's not enough light.
Good.
It'll be the same kind of thing, just not enough noise.
Yep. That would be good. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
Ms. Braccio?
Thank you. Mimi, you touched on mine, the hours and the lighting, and I think it's great to go back and relook at this in a year for the noise and light as well. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else have a comment, question?
Let me just look real quick. I just want to look at the, if there's anything. And the planning board already approved the waivers.
Yes.
Granted the waivers, so we have that information. And if you could, on the plans, just have the same revision date in each revision block on each page,
Yes.
so I don't.
All
have
the
to-
sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have to list each page out with a date and a revision date.
Yes.
If they're revised too, I can say that.
I'll make sure they're all the same date in
Saves
this.
paper,
Yeah.
saves room. Lighting, landscaping. The landscaping condition will be the same, that they have to comply with the landscaping and all native species, et cetera. Hours of operation, you said they're the same. The lights, controls will be the same as you
Mhm.
had
Yeah.
proposed in the
Yep.
storage. No stacking of pod type.
What was that? I'm sorry.
So no outdoor
Oh, so there's
storage?
no outdoor
None,
storage anymore.
no.
Okay, that's what you said here, okay. No outdoor storage, so we'll remove that. The standard pre-construction meeting, 14-day notice for construction. We'll need 2 sets of final approved plans with the planning board endorsement lines on it once it's voted to be approved. And then I'll need CAD plans. James knows a lot of
Mhm.
this stuff, and I can work with him. The decision will have to be, both decisions will be recorded. And you don't have to record a full-size set of plans, you just attach the letter size as an exhibit.
Mhm.
It saves a lot of effort. And then there'll be, make sure you have an updated SWIP, stormwater pollution prevention plan prior to construction, if it's.
Prior to construction.
Yeah, and an O&M plan, operation and maintenance plan, standard stuff, and they need to be signed by the owner.
Mhm.
Okay, there's a spot where those standard forms are signed, okay? And then there'll be as-built later, and those will be complete as-built with everything.
Yes.
Anything that was on a site plan, as-built. So, and then your final plan set will be approved, will have the approximate location of the new sign,
Yes.
showing that it's off the Mass DOT property, but they may not have determined 100% where it's going yet. But it'll
Correct.
be in that general vicinity. Okay.
The idea was, and Karina had suggested this, that we move it off state property in the site plans, and if we have to move it a little bit on our site, we can reflect that in the as-bills.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it's tricky. And I think that's all. I think I'll get you those within the week or so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then the next meeting will just be,
I love that. I have not signed the extension letter there. Do you have it on you, Corinne?
I was just going to remind him. Yeah, I was just going to remind you, George, that on D6, to eliminate the note about the waiver if it's not granted. When
Yeah,
you-
that was the
That's the
loading.
load.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
loading
Yeah.
zone, but there's a specific note to it, just to make sure that's completely
That was
eliminated as well.
D6, what note?
D6, it's the only note pointing to the loading zone on the upper left-hand side.
Okay.
Okay, so I make a motion to continue the public hearing for 250 Turnpike Road Contractors Yard Building Special Permit for Lower Impact Development Lid and 250 Turnpike Road Contractors Yard Building Major Site Plan Approval to July 14th, 2025 at 7:05 PM.
Okay, I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
I make a motion to extend the decision due date for 250 Turnpike Road Contractors Yard Building Special Permit Lid and MSPA to July 18th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you.
But you'll get me those plans when they're ready, so
Yes,
I can reference them in the decision.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Call ahead, George, because I might have to take a little time off.
Sure, I will. I'll give you.
All right, thanks.
So we can either take the A and R, I don't know if that's why you're here, Zach,
I can handle anything until my father shows up.
or do you want us to,
I could do the A&R first. That would actually probably be the easiest.
okay, well, I don't know.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. But
Okay, hold on a second.
he is planning on showing up.
Let me just get that. Wait a second here.
Could you put that up, Colleen?
Sure.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is an A and R, 38 Turnpike Road. We had moved that from earlier. We will take that now.
I can give you a little bit of a synopsis on that.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So we received this A&R. There's a notice of vote letter in the packet, I believe, if Colleen put it there. Yes. So this is an A&R for 38 Turnpike Road, map 39, parcel 38. And we received the application filed with the town clerk on June 18th. The agenda that was posted, we failed to put the decision deadline, but it's 21 days. And that is, the decision deadline is July 9th, which is prior to the next meeting in case there's any issues. So I reviewed the A&R for all the references, et cetera, the Registry of Deeds, plan books and deeds, and abutter information and zoning table, and setbacks were added, and the notes to explain what's going on. So most of it's that is met, but there may be further questions on that, Zach. And I think the intent of the plan is to carve off a piece of 38 Turnpike, which had an additional 20 feet of frontage for the existing parcel that it is part of now, and it was to convey it to number 34 Turnpike, which is just slightly north. Right here, there's a property, is it this one or this one?
It's the one closer to Turnpike Road.
This one here.
Yes.
Yeah, so this one here. So this one here is currently at the building department, working out some concerns with some building permit issues that they're working on. But technically, the goal is to move parcel A and convey it at some point to to Supreme Carpentry here, and that will eventually make that more conforming, because that lot has no frontage,
Correct.
that lot there, and it would allow him to have at least 20 feet there. So that's all I have to say on that.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to that? You have to introduce yourself.
Sorry, Zachary Bemis, Engineering Design Consultants, representing Alexi Traposo of 38 Turnpike Road. I guess I would add, even though it's 38 Turnpike Road, the property has frontage on Brook Lane, nothing on Turnpike Road. And I think in reviewing it with Karina, we were able to go over a bunch of things added to the plan. I'd be more than happy to field any specific questions regarding it.
I have questions on frontage.
Okay.
There isn't the requisite frontage.
There wasn't originally the requisite frontage.
Okay.
116, I don't have a benefit of the
Yeah.
plan. I wasn't planning on coming to talk about this, but the frontage along Brook Lane,
Yeah.
that would be, I guess, number 8 sequentially, because it goes from 4 to 10 on either side, is 116. There is 20 feet that's off to the side, but it's not contiguous.
So this is the 116 right here.
So that number hasn't changed, so it's not, the degree of nonconformity hasn't been altered by the proposed subdivision?
So the definition of frontage is required to be a continuous stretch. So the 20 feet over here didn't count as frontage.
Originally.
Anyway, is what you're saying.
And
Would that-
I wouldn't propose to come to the board with parcel A and lot A1 if it was just vacant land and propose to make it a buildable lot because the frontage wouldn't be continuous. I don't think that would be accepted. I don't think it can be segmented in parts like that.
So what you're saying is to lose this 20 feet of frontage doesn't impact the legal frontage?
Doesn't impact that.
Legal
And just as
non-conforming
a way of demonstrating what the thought is, if Lot A1 and Parcel A were separate lots today, and someone was trying to combine them to create a buildable lot that didn't actually already have the benefit of a pre-existing house, I don't think that it would be approved. And I certainly wouldn't propose it.
So you're saying
So
because
ju-
it's existing, you're not changing what the frontage is?
Right, that lot has always been the remainder lot from when the Triolis owned this back in the 1920s and 30s. It's the remainder lot. Everything else was parceled out around it, including those landlocked parcels behind it.
And
Is-
this parcel here now says not a buildable lot
Correct.
that you're creating?
And it's to be conveyed to a lot that has no frontage.
Which, once conveyed, it would give it some frontage, but
Some
still
frontage,
not
but still not the
conforming.
requisite.
Not.
That's why Parcel A is not trying to show all of the land, of what would become Carpentry LLC's land. It's just showing the subject parcel and the swap of portion of it.
Because this lot, where it's intended to be conveyed to, has no frontage at all. And if you see, there's 2 easements here, 2 separate easements. And I think this easement is used for just one property owner, and the rest of the property's access off of this easement off of Route 9, right here. Just so you know how things operate.
Yeah, so what hung me up is an A&R, that's all you look at is frontage. And the proposed lot meets the minimum frontage requirements of the zoning bylaw is one of the requirements. And this doesn't.
If it was being altered, if in order to make Parcel A, we were losing some of the continuous frontage, I would completely agree. I don't think it trips that because the frontage hasn't been altered.
So the pre-existing non-conforming is zoning law, and this is subdivision control. So they're 2 separate things. We asked town council, and he didn't respond. So my question is, so I found case law that because this is a parcel and it's not dividing into 2 lots, it's not a subdivision, so it can be endorsed, but I'm wondering if the board should have some note on there saying neither lot has frontage, just so it, I don't know,
Both subject parcels already have structures on them as well.
yeah.
So it wouldn't be as if someone was trying to skirt any rules. Both already have dwellings.
Yeah, today.
Today, yes.
Ms. Houlihan.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming. Again, like A&R, I think when we go through it, we go through those subdivision requirements. And so I think I was on the same page with Mimi in trying to get town council to get perspective. I'm not a lawyer. I would hate to interpret case law anyway. So if we're okay with putting some sort of notation on it, I think I'd be comfortable proceeding with the approval. But it's unfortunate we didn't hear from town council.
Well, he was hoping to respond today, but I don't think he got to it, because he did follow up and said he was going to get it to me today.
Okay.
I did give it to him Friday morning, so the other option is to ask if they are willing to go to the next meeting for this. Then we would surely get the response. Because what we want to avoid is similar to a previous location. It turned out to be a town parcel and not actually right away.
And an A&R doesn't it have like time,
21 days.
21 days.
So July 9th, which is just short of the July 14th date. So they would have to agree to continue the discussion. But that's up to the board if they feel one way or another.
Okay.
I'm not sure about it either, so. It seems sensible to me that you're not changing the frontage. There is an existing lot, but it's true if it says it's supposed to be frontage on a way.
Doesn't meet the requirements, right?
Yeah, sort of. I'm just not clear on it myself. I was hoping for the response.
Same here.
Mr. Murray.
So I used to be on the zoning board of appeals, so I agree the concept of pre-existing non-conforming doesn't apply here. And the A&R handbook gives some case law and goes into some detail about frontage. And the piece that I always consult on, so what is that phrase? It says vital access is reasonably guaranteed. So I would not be in favor of it. I guess I would like to hear from town council because I'd like to be open about it. But, just last week, for example, I sat at a select board meeting and they were reviewing some matter and they said, oh, that A&R shouldn't have been agreed by the planning board. And it's something from hopefully the 70s or something like that, and a proponent had come through looking to do something. So I just don't know where these things end up. I think that these, are guidelines for us for a reason, and I don't see a way, I'm not understanding how we can get around it with putting a notation. I think you have to have frontage. So that's just my thinking on it, but I'm open to hearing from town council.
Ms. Braccio.
Thank you. I had the same concerns on frontage. I would recommend that we wait to hear from town council, just so that we're 100% sure and on the right page as we move forward with this. So, and it's only, Karina, am I correct? It's only 2 days difference from when the 21 days is versus our next meeting. Is that correct?
No, it's July 9th versus July 14th. So the 21
Okay.
days, yeah, it's a little bit earlier.
So,
But
okay.
Yeah.
So I would hope that the proponent would be willing to do an extension, because I think it's important that we hear back from council on this. Thank you.
Mr. Belknap.
Thank you. I don't have anything new to add than what you all have said, so thanks.
So would you be willing to go to the 14th so we can hear from council?
Yes, we would be.
Great, thank you.
Super. Be very helpful, because we didn't want to run into the same issue where they had to go back and do other things now, so it'll help your client as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we'll just move that up to the 6:30 slot
Yeah, do you want to
before any
be,
public
do you want to be
hearings?
first
Would that
on
work?
the 14th? The next item on the agenda is 26 Meadow Lane, Reservoir Meadows, public hearing, major site plan approval, special permit, lower impact development, and special permit, major residential development, flexible development. And we received submission number 5 on at our last meeting on June 2nd. Fuss and O'Neill responded tonight at 6:06.
Zach brought it, so it's good.
Welcome, Mr. Bemis.
Thank you. Good evening. I was able to read it while I was waiting for my turn, the last meeting I was at, too, so thank you. So again, on behalf of 39 Pine Falmouth LLC and William and Christine Poutre, owners of the project, during the last meeting, you got a full packet, and you got a water balance budget and a hydrogeologic assessment, excuse me. I believe the package to be complete now. Everything's there. You got your comments from Fuss and O'Neill. They're really only falling back on the fact that we're still advocating for improving the stormwater system along Meadow Lane by diverting more water to the north and putting it into our wetland replication area and the wetland that the opportunistic wetland, if you will, that formed as a result of a runway being constructed in a residential zone, whatever year that was done in, because the runway is going to be gone now. So there isn't going to be a place for stormwater to get to that wetland if we don't put it there. We felt really strongly about it. We advocated that position in our hydrogeologic assessment as well, yet they didn't weigh in on any of that. They reference it, but it's as if they didn't read it. That was my takeaway. So I leave it.
Karina did reach out to Fuss and O'Neill.
I called Amy Bell at Fuss and O'Neill because it was after hours to ask her to clarify because they were trying to really push it out to get it before the meeting. And she explained to me that that comment about at the discretion of the planning board about the water balance and hydrogeological was an oversight. That wasn't supposed to be in there. There's only one comment left, and that's on the
Okay.
wetland
I
replication.
feel better about that then. Because I was pretty frustrated that we're getting to the finish line, and yet we're not, like, the ball is still behind.
No, as soon as I saw it, I reached out to her, and
Okay.
they reviewed the water balance calcs and no comments on them. The comment was excellent, left on the follow-up review. It should have been removed.
Okay, then I feel better about that.
All right.
So really what we're down to then was an exhibit that we submitted to you folks. I was hoping to do it on an ad hoc basis because I had described it during the meeting. I kind of knew what the takeaway was going to be and that we would need to have this conversation. I realize it can't happen offline. I get it. And the idea was to be able to come to this meeting prepared, however. So I am thankful that it got distributed. And I think this is really what the focus needs to be on, is how we define these spaces. Because I just think at the end of the day, it's a very difficult process to go through. It's worth it in the case of a project like this, where we can set aside so much open space and try to get our units in a pretty small area. And so that the developer can get something out of it, the town can get something out of it, and the neighbors, more importantly, can get something out of it as well. The illustration was the one that's before you there. The idea is not counting anything that's related to infrastructure that's there. So we highlighted that in this red condition, which does include the road as well. So I'm trying to balance this in how we do it, so that we really have these separate color areas that we have to focus on. So there's the condominium open space, common space, if you will. Then there's the common open space that would be maintained lawn that we're counting. So understand that even though some of this is shown in red, we're still going to maintain the lawn there. We just never took credit for it anyways. It's in the center island. I should have pointed that out. So that's the area that's specifically going to be mowed. Then we reduced the area in the back that is common open space that is going to be annual mowing. So we cut it down to just that one zone in the back so we could keep it a meadow. And then anything that's what we call natural open space, it's treed already, it's a wetland, whatever that is. The wetland areas weren't counted, so that doesn't change, that'll never get changed. And then there's these areas that are wooded that are going to stay that way. And then those numbers are all shown on this illustration so that you would have the mathematics of how we got here and what it represents. Because this is all going to get memorialized in the condo docs and in the HOA management of the site and your decision. So with that said, I look forward to your support. Be happy to take a deeper dive on any of these documents, but that's, you know, the fact that the water balance, if you want to go into that, we can. I'm prepared to talk about any subject matter that's there. But the fact that the peer review engineer did review it and did comment back that we did satisfy the requirement, I'm grateful. So we don't have to do that again. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Houlihan.
Hi, Mr. Bemis. Thank you for coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we were equally confused when we got the Fuss and O'Neill report. So that was glad to hear that Amy clarified that they actually did read it, and I was reliant on that. So that was one of my major concerns. I also, I see Mr. Williams is here in the audience. I also realize our agreement has gone. Mr. Poutre had shared that with the planning board. That puts me at ease, and I think it would be good for me just to make sure that everything that you've maintained in that email is what Mr. Williams and the HOA have agreed to from that perspective. So at some point, public comment, Mr. Williams, if you can make that. Otherwise, I will defer to a lot of the open space and the trees to our resident expert, but from my perspective, if that meets the requirements, I'm in a good place with the plan. So thank you.
Mr. Murray.
Hi, Peter. Good to see you. So I guess I am going to ask you a little bit about the water balance.
Sure.
It's really more for me.
Okay.
What about if we get like the 100-year flood or the 1,000-year flood or something like that? Can you just maybe explain it, sort of the approach and, yeah, just in your own words, just the approach to
Okay. So from
calculations?
from a water budget perspective, what the analysis basically shows is trying to document what we have for rainfall. But there's not when it rains, whatever's coming down that annual period is getting absorbed into the ground to whatever its availability is. Because we're taking all of the stormwater from our roof areas, infiltrating it, and our paved surfaces, infiltrating it, we're keeping it all on site. We're getting more of it into the ground than, frankly, we would get under the existing conditions where it's going to run off. But we don't take credit for it, because basically what we're saying is whatever rainfall falls, it's going to fall again, same way, regardless of what type of project it is. So the one variable here is the fact that we've got a water supply that we're taking water from municipality. Okay, so we have municipal water. We're not taking from the ground. And we're taking that and we're putting it back into the ground. So that is the one variable that will increase. So given that we do the septic system in accordance with Title V, so there's a separation of groundwater, and there's going to be that infiltrative capacity of the soil, and it's over a regional basis that we're affecting things on fractional level, very, very small. But that is the one increase, if you will. Otherwise, stormwater perspective, we manage it. We're doing, frankly, better than what the existing condition is because we've got a runway there that's running off. We're not going to have that in the future. All of our roofs will capture and put it in the ground. So from the geology part of it, we're not penetrating with rock wells. We're not taking anything out of the ground. We're not doing anything with shallow wells. So that's a stable condition. And that's really what this was documented to show. Is that we have a very good balance in existing conditions. We have a very good balance in the future condition as well. So that's what 27 pages basically said. And we documented it properly with references.
Thank you. No,
Yeah.
I appreciate you going over that
Okay.
for me. Thanks. I don't have any questions for you tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Braccio?
Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for being here. I'm glad to see that conversations continued with the abutters and that an agreement on the 19th seems to have been reached. I'd be interested as well to hear from Mr. Williams on that. I'm glad that you're doing annual mowing. I know initially it was proposed with, I think it was 2 mowings a year, so I'm glad to see it's annual. And I just want to verify again, Peter, I know we talked about this in the past, that the mature trees before the property slopes down, those trees will remain and won't be taken down?
That's right. Yeah, the intent here is not to take down any trees.
Okay, okay. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay.
And Mr. Belniak is newly elected and missed
Yeah.
more than one, so he can't participate. So we're back to me.
Okay.
I have some comments that I raised on 512 that are still, haven't been addressed. So the wetland replication doesn't match. On page 3 and 4, it's 3250. On page 9, it's 3420, and I don't understand why that is.
I don't have both sheets to be able to contrast and compare. What was it again?
You want mine?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll look. We'll see.
Do I have a little one? I have a little one, too, if that, no, yeah, me either.
So could you give me the numbers again, please?
Page 3 and 4, it says 3250, and on page 9, it's 3420.
3920?
3420.
Just go to 9 first, because 9 is the
Open
calculation
space.
sheet.
Mimi, can I jump in for 1 second while Peter's
Sure.
doing that?
Yeah.
Just so you know, so online, I'm seeing not just the plans, but it looks like there's a page of news. I don't know, Colleen, if you can see that. So I can't actually see the full plan. I'm seeing like news and the stock market and, so I just didn't know if we could just, thank you.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
thank you.
Thank you.
Colleen, you got your web page up?
Well, when you float your mouse at the bottom, it pops up, it's one, unless you shut it off.
Oh, there we go, thank you.
Yeah. It comes with the application.
Yeah, I believe the correct value is the 3420, because that is on the sheet that has all of the calculated numbers on it. And then we were 30, trying to remember, the fill was, it's on page 3. I want to say it's 3120. Yeah, 3210 was what we had, what we were displacing. So I guess what I would say to you is that we're going to have to make an edit anyways to address what for your final plan for what we have to do for the abutters, because there are no provisions for that in what we submitted, because that was negotiated after the last meeting. So that these numbers will coincide with whatever it is on sheets 3, 4, and 9 will be the same value. We were not trying to misrepresent anything.
Okay,
It's just a matter of the calculations and what the final number was for that area.
yeah,
But I do believe sheet 9 is the correct one. We're talking about 170 square feet, so it's
I
not.
know, but I just like everything to be the same.
I want them all to be the same too. There's no reason to have them any different. It's just that the sheet that is governing all of the values right now is sheet 9.
Okay,
So to me, and that's the higher value, we'll lock in on that. I can do that with you right now, if if we're trying
Well,
to
you have
wrap
to
this
check
up.
it, right? You have to verify it, that it's the right number.
I'm prepared to verify it right now by just saying 3420 is what we will create. I'm fine with that.
Oh, okay.
I'd like, if we can still try to get all of this done, I'm prepared to do that.
Keep that.
Oh,
I have another one.
all right, go ahead.
On page 9,
Yeah,
so in the table that lists out the open space, it lists common as 36090, but then in the notes, it's 140550 for 4460 difference, and I don't know where that comes from.
can you, now that I'm staring at it, could you repeat it, please?
The common open space, 136090.
Yeah.
And then down in the notes below there, it says common 140550.
I think they're contrasting two different numbers, though. This one's a little bit different, because that's 37.1%, 37.1% versus the other is 35.9%.
Yeah.
I think he's contrasting two different things. And it's not the same term. So I don't want to suggest one is wrong versus the other. It's two different terms, but I'll get
I'd
clarification
like to
on that.
understand, what that difference is.
Yep.
Um,
I believe
on-
it to be right up above. I think this was just a note about the open space note, so I'd be surprised if it's the alternative, but go ahead.
On page 6, the plant substitution note should say with the approval of town planner.
That was supposed to be a standard detail in our office. What sheet?
Page 6.
And
Right above the plants there. It says substitutions of species but not quantities, or something on the bottom there, right on top of the replication.
now I know why, because it's not in a standard detail. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
And then, and I asked this before, and I don't know what difference it makes, but I just don't understand it. On page 3, you show an increase in grass, which increases the impervious, and I don't understand how you can do that. Because I thought grass was pervious.
Mm-hmm. So, sheet 3. We're increasing the grass coverage, but it should be you think of it alternatively, it's a negative. So he just should put a minus there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in other words, he's trying to show you what the impervious area increase is, but it would have been a negative, so there's actually less.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
thought in my simple mind.
Yeah, the math is, the principle's right, it's just the way, the nomenclature's wrong. So plus 2580 really should be minus 2580. Even though you're increasing it, you follow me? It's a negative for an
Yeah,
impervious.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I can see how you could do that while you're in CAD, thinking in your brain, because you're increasing it, but it seems a plus, but it really should be a minus.
I spend no time in CAD.
Yep, I know. I can just see him doing it right now.
I just know that in my simple non-engineer mind that.
No, you're good,
That grass is
you
pervious.
really picked up on one. I have to say, I looked at these too, and I was probably thinking the same way, but, oh, God, it's okay, go ahead. Got another one?
So it looks like your net impervious would change too, so it'd be
Yeah.
minus
Yeah, no, the whole,
5,000.
the whole
Yeah,
cap,
yeah.
yeah, goes the other way.
So I'd like, and Lisa mentioned this, I'd like to see that area in the common open space where it's treed. So when it starts sloping down, it's treed there.
We didn't take credit for it, yeah, I mean.
But I mean, if those trees are going to remain, it shouldn't be here as being mowed once a year.
And then, okay, but that's what, we didn't go out and try to define all of that, so I guess to some extent, now that I feel like we're getting to the place where we need to be, we could do that. I'll just tell Bill, we'll go out and do
Well,
some
could that
survey
be,
work.
could that be called out in the covenant? So we need an updated open space covenant, because the covenant says you're
Correct.
going to mow that.
I guess we could
four
just have a
times
blanket
a year.
statement, because anything that's within open space areas, our intent was not to cut down any trees. And we're not trying to suggest that. It's just, what I'm trying to do is maintain a meadow where there is a meadow.
Right. Well, in the meadow area, there's some little,
Yeah, I know, but there's some of that stuff
Seedy
you want to
things.
get down,
well, the little seedly things.
yeah, the.
But when you head back, when it starts heading
yeah,
down,
there's
there's
bigger
some big
there.
trees that you
Agreed,
want to,
Agreed, we're going to keep those, I'm not.
and
not
because
gonna-
that will probably keep the slope intact,
Yes,
too.
yes, yes.
So are those supposed to be identified or a note call out or?
So I don't think you need to survey it. I think that if it's in the covenant, I'll feel comfortable with that. Would you feel comfortable with that, Lisa?
Maybe we
Yes,
just-
I would, Mimi, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can just go to a caliper size or something. You folks, you're a little bit more intimate with the trees that you saw down there, because you had walked it, and I haven't seen it in a while in my own mind. I just know what you're talking about. So I don't know whether it's to say 3-inch caliper, 2-inch caliper. I just know that at some point here, there's probably some woody shrubs and some trees that have started to take advantage of the fact that no one's been mowing this for some time.
Yeah.
Even 3 or 4 years,
Well, I
we've
think
been at
it's
this for a
right.
while.
It's like, when you look at it, you can see there's like a line of trees. It's right before it starts sloping down. So when you look at it, it's like meadow, 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 and there are some,
There's a
little-
some woody shrubs.
little
We know we're going to get rid of those,
Yeah,
right?
those are fine.
Yeah.
But there's a line of like good-sized trees right before it
All right,
starts to
well,
slope
if
down.
you're comfortable with language, I would rather do it that way, because I know,
Yeah.
our intent is not to go down and cut any wooded areas, that's for damn sure. Not after all this effort.
Well, you're right. I know your intent is pure, but it needs to be memorialized, because the intent doesn't stay forever.
Yep,
That's fine.
I got it.
Yeah, so just on the covenant, just, it needs to be clear that the natural is to remain.
Mhm.
The common will be mowed between the September, would you say, 1st and 30th
Yeah,
or
we
something?
gave you a window. I wanted it to be a post of for the birds.
Right,
I wanted to make sure
right.
we're well after that.
Yeah.
And there was no reason to do it any sooner anyways.
Yeah.
As long as it's getting done before winter conditions, it's good.
And
be
that,
too
just
late.
that note on the forested. And then, was there, so in those little purple lines, were you going to mow something there to get to the septics or something? Or those?
Yep, we had just an access corridor to get back there, that's all. But
It's not going to grow. Do you want me to introduce myself?
Sure.
Hi. I'm Bill Poutre. I'm the applicant. It's just that if we need to get back there, it's not going to be, we're going to mow it once a year. Usually, I think the language said after August, once a year after August 1st. And I believe that, if we had to get back there and for whatever reason, there's got to be a lawnmower that's got to get over the septic system, because that needs to be mowed. So it's just a matter of that being traversed in order to get to that area. there's no trees there, there's no, it can be mowed once a year, it's fine. It's just a function, and it was the ability to kind of walk, back there to get to, to get to, in essence, the walking trails and so forth, back, that are behind us, all the open space that's the state land.
And the other piece to that was that we did go out and locate our abutters' fences, because there's really no need to have a fence against a fence.
No.
So we showed you where those fences were.
Okay.
And those are going to serve the purpose of dictating kind of where things are.
And we don't want to have to move their fences to go mow above the septic. It's literally just, getting your mowers 12 feet around to where they need to get to, that's all.
So you just want to reserve the right, if you need to get there,
That's all.
if it's not mowed, just that little strip, the
Just-
10
Just to
feet?
get around.
Yeah, it would just to
Okay.
get around the back of where their fences are, instead of having to go through the easement area that's in their yard.
Okay,
That's all.
so that should be spelled out in the covenant,
That's
too.
fine.
And then,
Maybe you want to see a copy of that revised covenant before approval, or make that a condition?
oh, I'd like to see it.
Okay.
Oh, and then very happy that it appears that there's been an agreement with the abutting HOA.
Mr. Williams and I talked about it and had, the caveat, and he can speak to, is he said he wanted to speak to the other people within the HOA afterwards. So
Okay.
that's why he came tonight, was to speak to that. And so I'm hoping that
Okay.
the agreement that we came to is what he is going to state tonight.
So I'd like to ask our town council on how to memorialize that. Like, I don't know if it needs to be an addendum on the easement, or if it just can be in the conditions, or how that works.
I think it's just the easement. The easement's getting revised.
Oh, so the whole language and everything's being
Yeah, the easement's
revised?
being revised.
Oh, well,
And
that
that's the
answers that
plan that we
question.
had given you, with that easement plan that you were given.
Okay,
It was just revised. Just going to revise
So
the
we got
easement.
that on Friday, and I distributed it to the planning board members. So you.
so that's the plan, but is there going to be easement language filed at the Registry of Deeds?
Yeah, the association wants to make sure that with their attorney, that they're protecting all their rights and so forth, which I
Absolutely.
totally understand.
Yeah,
So what we would ask is that if that's the agreement that we have in place, that we condition for the actual easement itself that would get recorded,
okay,
once we've gone through the process and when we record the rest of the documents.
okay.
Yeah, because I would anticipate putting some of these notes that the HOA wants also on the plans, because these become the construction documents
Yep.
as well. So no, but believe me, I do think that this should all be done, every I dotted, every T crossed.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And we're fine with that.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Williams?
Hi. Is it on? Okay. David Williams, 25 Meadow Lane. So Bill's right. I did come here. We had a conversation last week. First of all, just to be clear, I know we saw something about easement, and it was really about the easement around for Paul Ishkanian's
Yeah,
thing.
there are two real pieces here if you look at that easement plan. Do you have a copy of that easement plan that
I do. Colleen, can you put that up on the screen for me? I'll tell you which one it is.
Submission easement plan.
Right.
6,
It's the last submission.
oh, we don't?
It's in the Dropbox. I put it in this afternoon or earlier today. It's the second file down. If you look in the Dropbox, it says,
Okay, that's it.
26 Flex OS easement plan.
So there are two places that I would have you look for your attention. The first is in the south east corner, there's a little triangle. There you go, where Karina is showing now. There is a line that leaves the septic tank for 30 Meadow Lane that goes through our property without the benefit of an easement. So we are going to give them that easement. Does not affect any of the area that would be considered open space at all. The second piece to that was the road that leads from Valley, the easement that leads from Valley Road, that part of the runway basically from Valley Road out is being reduced to 12 feet. And that has been discussed with Mr. Williams and also Mr. Ishkanian, who also has it benefits him too, the owner of number 30, because to give him access to his driveway. So that's kind of like the trade-off, so to speak. The other pieces that we had spoken about were there's in our loop road that we're putting, that is coming through, there's about a 20-foot wide area that would be paved in that loop road. And what Mr. Williams and I spoke about was if that pavement has to be removed,
Oh, yeah.
then we would remove it, or the association that would remove it, and then replace it, the pavement, at our cost. Just so we don't get into something like, oh, you guys did a lousy job removing the pavement. And so to scratch all that, we said, we'll be the ones that remove it, and we'll be the ones that replace it at our expense. And that seemed to not be an issue at all. They had asked for, if their civil engineer that manages their septic system can be there during any construction or anything that is over any of the areas that impact any of their system, and I have zero issues with that. That's not a problem. And I believe, the last thing was, there was a little bit of a concern originally that any of the construction that we were doing where the homes would be could have a negative impact on their septic field. And there's two pieces to this, but I feel like we, in an abundance of caution, came to an agreement amongst us. And the first issue is that's up gradient from anywhere we're doing anything. It's not, so water doesn't go uphill without a pump, right? So, and the closest that we got to any construction was almost 190 feet from their septic field. Regardless, to the extent that it was a concern to theirs, what I had suggested to him is that between their association and our new association that will be here, is that we will post a bond to cover a $30,000 expense. That should there be any issues, that would surely take, and the chances of it, again, water's not going uphill, and it's not permeable material anyway. The whole problem with this property is water can't get through so now not only is it 190 feet away uphill, but it's not permeable. You can't get up there. Won't go through that material. So, but in an abundance of caution, to make everybody happy, I said, look, we'll take a bond out for that amount. We'll wait after construction is complete. We'll wait through a rainy season and into the summer, so nobody before we release that. But that would not be something that the town would be a party to, as I spoke to Karina. That would be a document between their association and our association. So that's the only piece that would kind of not, the town's not a party to that. Right? That's kind of between them us that we would put that together as part of our agreement when we do the easement. And I think that that's what, Karina, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that that's what we had discussed that is probably the proper way to do that. Is that right?
Yeah, when you explained that to me, I indicated, I think that's between the two private ownerships.
And I think you're right. And our council has said the
But
same.
I'm not an attorney. That was
Yeah,
just
our
my
council said the
opinion.
same thing. We'll see if their council says the same thing. But regardless, I don't care if it's made, full intention is to do it. So however we need to memorialize that, we'll memorialize it to make everybody happy.
Are you thinking a cash bond or a performance bond?
Just a
and then-
performance bond.
So, yeah, if I could just, I mean, I think I'm kind of reiterating what we agreed to, but I know he sent you an email, and this was my understanding, and it went back to our board, because I'm not an individual landowner or homeowner doing this. This is part of a board. As he said, we have an easement for where the pipes go up to the leach field. He agrees we should amend the easement, and so he's right. We need to involve an attorney to get that done. Essentially, what he said is correct. They would cut the pavement, they would put it back in, and that was our concern. We don't want to be responsible for that. I looked at the plans that show that the leach field should be at a higher elevation, so I understand that. I do want our engineer to have a look at it, and he's provided the plan, so I forwarded them off to him. And we had, some people from the association had asked for an easement to put the drain in, but I think Bill pointed out, well, this whole area is an easement. You don't really need one. And he's correct in saying that. He suggested the bond. I think our homeowners association had said, I forget how they put it, to put it up somehow, but the details are to do it with a bond. And I would agree that it would have to at least go through a period, wherever it is, where there's at least enough rain to prove it out. Obviously, that's the concern of the homeowners association. You've heard it many times. Towards that end, if you do have something from Fuss and O'Neill on the hydrological study, is that available? Is that something I could see? I know, was that what you just got?
We have copies of what Peter Bemis submitted for the hydrogeological assessment and the water balance calcs that were provided to Fuss and O'Neill for review, and they had no comment on those.
Okay.
So that's, my understanding is that they found those acceptable.
Okay.
But if you need copies, we can get you that.
At this point, I think I would like to at least start with the civil engineer review of the drainage and the grading plans, just to confirm. I mean, I know there's a lot of those chambers. I think, to me, the plan looks pretty robust, that you want to get it into the soil, and if not, it makes its way out to the drain. But again, I think we'd all want to hear a professional review, so. But I think that's all. I don't have confirmation back from everybody.
So
but-
David, if you email me what you're looking for, I can provide you.
Yeah, I'd just be curious,
Should be-
the calculations, what the study was that Mr. Bemis submitted that Fuss and O'Neill had no
It's
comments
public
on.
It's
information.
part of the record and it's public
Oh, it is?
information.
Yeah.
So if you'd like,
Yeah.
you're welcome to that.
Okay,
It may be posted in the packet of the prior meeting,
of the prior meeting?
where the
Okay.
agendas are kept.
All right, I'll look and
But
see.
if you can't find
If
it,
if I can't find it, I'll contact you,
Or me, Dave.
or you, yep.
oh, it might be posted with this one. Either way, we have the copies of it.
Okay,
We have a PDF we can send you.
okay, yep. Okay, great.
Can I just ask a quick,
Not very exciting reading.
just a quick question? Can we ask Fuss and O'Neill to revise their thing? I know she sent you a text, but it would be nice to have a formal revised document.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
with that removed.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I wanted to add for Dave, because he's going to have his engineer look at this, because the one thing I would like to do is avoid the asphalt having to ever be touched, is that, and I can communicate with your engineer, is just we would put sleeves in.
Yeah,
Do too, just as part of construction, it's so easy to do, and that's what we would do for any municipal project. If we had to go
Right.
back and revisit it, we would not want to just open up the asphalt to do it when we could provision for it.
Yeah.
So we could just agree on what those provisions are, and do it, and it could be in the plan set. I would rather it be part of the documented plan set.
Yeah,
And you're protected, the board's protected, I'm protected.
yeah,
Contractor will do what they're supposed to do because it's on the plans.
right, yeah,
You want to leave the language in there that says, still, if
Yeah.
you should have to.
Exactly.
correct.
I have no issue with that.
Right, I agree, and I can understand, obviously, this is not the first time something like this has ever been attempted, so I'm sure it can be managed. But I think that was all. Thank you.
So just to clarify, David, the Fuss and O'Neill, they sent the letter tonight. And in their list of documents, they listed those hydrological studies.
Okay,
And then they referred to
Friday.
the proponent asking for a waiver, and they have the, planning board can determine whether to give the waiver. So they didn't update that, but Karina had
okay.
called Amy and she texted back. So we're going to have them update that letter so the record is correct.
okay, all right, very good, thank you.
So they were okay with it.
Okay.
Nobody wants that, do they?
One more question is, since we have the email, can we just include that as part of a document of part of our process? Because I do think it outlines all of what you've stated and agreed to.
This is the email from June 19th
Yes, from Mr. Poutre, that copied Dave Williams.
at 9:09
Yep.
PM. So what would you like, say that one?
Just include it in the list of documents that
Absolutely.
we're using for,
I try to include all the documents, that's why the pages get so long.
Yeah, that's good. So, my opinion, I'd like to continue to the 14th so we have everything, all the i's dot and t's crossed, and Karina can start on the conditions. And I'd like to see an open space easement, since this is a huge part of the project, and not leave that hanging out there for,
I have no problem providing that. We had been told it was the draft that is required, and the language has to match with the approval, or, it's got to match it's our responsibility to make sure that the easement matches the approval. So that's the reason why when we had done, technically, the only other one of these plans that's ever been done before, 7 years ago, it was told to us, you do a draft, you submit the draft, and then based on how the approval comes back, you make sure you mirror that so it's exact. So that's what our hope is, and I mean, my hope was to get a vote tonight. Every one of these additional meetings is about a $10,000 expense, and that between time and, and so forth. I feel like we have done everything. We're now 14 months into this. We've worked with, all the different boards, all the different departments. They're comfortable with where we are right now. We worked with the neighbors, made adjustments to our plans, spent tens of thousands of dollars more to get to the point that everybody is pleased and happy. And I think that the amount of stuff that's left, I really feel like we can just condition for it. It's not going to go on record until we complete our conditions. And, we understand that. But to go another 3 weeks and then another 20-day period, and then, I just think that it puts an undue burden on us when we've done everything. And so I respectfully request that we're able to just condition for those things. There's a few I's to dot and T's to cross, and those will be done. Mr. Bemis has the list of the things that need to be done there. The open space piece is You know, we want it to reflect exactly what the board wants, and we don't want to get into a situation where we do it, then, oh, you missed this or you missed that. It's much easier for us to be finished and understand exactly what you're looking for so that we can reflect that, you know, exactly how it's been approved.
My personal opinion is that, you know, the point of these flexible developments is the open space, and this is a huge thing. The open space, it's not just all natural open space. There's, you know, natural, common. There's some things that you want to hold out a cutout to be able to mow. It's, you know, very particular that needs to be reflected. And I feel much more comfortable having a decision that can be reviewed before approving a project. And we did get the last plans on the day of the meeting, so the first time we're talking about them is tonight. The last meeting on 6/2, I walked in and there were new plans on the table.
Okay.
And a lot of my comments tonight were made on 5/12.
Mhm.
So, Ms. Houlihan.
So I'm inclined to, and I guess the question would go back to Mr. Poutre. I think the overwhelming concern is you need all four. You need a unanimous decision on the vote. So I wonder if we just do like a mock, like how would we vote, and then so they know where they stand, and then move to conditions. So I agree with the open space because it is such a large point of this flexible development, and I'm sorry the cost. I understand the burden of the cost and the impact to all the meetings. But I wonder if that somewhat meets your requirements where you have a very strong understanding of where the board sits, and then knowing that we can spend the next 3 weeks on our side, you guys on your plans, and our side being able to write the conditions so we're ready to go on the 14th. So that would be my request.
Mr. Maria.
Yeah, I always like to see the conditions, but I have to agree on the open space. So this is, I think, my first flexible development, and I think it just needs to be complete, you know, before we take the vote. But thank you.
Ms. Braccio.
I also understand the need to want to try to get this done, but I do think I would also want to see, see before we move forward. Thank you.
Can we circulate a draft decision?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I think that's a fair trade-off.
We always do. So
Yeah.
as soon as I have it drafted, and I have the 28 Boston Road as a good example for a template, so that'll really help me. And then I'll go through the notes and add the other conditions. I send you a draft. I send the planning board members a draft. You and I will talk about the conditions if you have any major concerns and kind of work them out before I send them to the planning board.
Can we, tonight, at least agree on where we stand with the open space, so it's not going to be then turned around and adjusted again on the 14th, which then brings us into another 4 weeks, since we only meet once a month in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I gave you this exhibit, so I think if we can, other than the numbers, I made you, I'll check those. Whatever they are, they are. But if we can
So
just.
is that different from that?
Yeah, it is.
The new
You know,
submission that's color-coded
It's the one I emailed you and I explained it.
Oh.
is a little different from the June 2nd. It's the revised page 9.
Oh, thank you.
And your color coding was much more legible for those of us who can't read it on that. Yeah, that was hard.
On the screen, the colors are
Yep.
terrible, but they're really good on the
Agree.
exhibit in color, so I'm not sure why. I think it's the yellow, it bleeds out.
So the plan that you
So
sent
this
on
is the
June
mini
20th.
PDF.
This one that's on, you sent that in an or, no.
Yeah, it was in an
Bill, you
email.
sent it to me from Staples. You had it scanned and you sent it, I think it's that plan on the sheet, on the screen. The draft D1?
Well,
No, that's the easement
easement.
plan.
This is the one that I had emailed to you,
This
that you
one.
distributed to the board, and then Mimi came back, or one of you came back and said, you know, we can't really do this on an ad hoc basis.
colored one.
I
It's
understand.
3715 SP S9 Flexible Development.
Could
If you
you
can pull it up,
explain how
Colleen.
that differs from the 6-2 plan?
That's how I started my presentation tonight, about the mowed lawn limits in
Oh.
all the areas.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This really, we thought this really clarified everything and made it, I thought dovetailed with all the comments that you made at the meeting.
It was
That's why I kind of wanted you to say, okay.
Peter, it was revised 6/3/25 date? Revised per
When we
Revision
issued this,
number
we didn't put a
7.
number on it.
Colored
No
one.
date.
It's a
It's-
separate,
it was-
if you look in the Dropbox, it says.
I didn't bring my phone
Mimi
in, so I
PDF.
can't tell you when I
Because I
emailed.
asked Colleen to stick that up there today.
Yeah, you sent it, and I put it in the
Yeah.
Dropbox, and it's the 371.
Oh, okay, now I know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Okay, and that's,
Colleen, can you put that on the screen for us?
that's what the
So
revision.
right now, the only discrepancy is the fact that we had 140,550 and we have 136,090, 37.1%, and the other one was 35 point something percent.
I'm trying to
I think they're two different values. There's just no way that one means one thing and one means another. That's not just the other's more 170 square feet, that's something totally different. That one, I think mathematically is 3420. These are two different values.
Oh,
So
okay.
note one, I gotta make sure what Zach put in note one
That's it, Colleen.
doesn't
Is
contradict
that the right
what's up
one?
above.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's
And Peter,
the right exhibit.
Like I said, that's the one that has the revision date right there of
Well, it still
6/3,
says the
right here.
6/3, yes, but
That's the one you're talking about,
correct.
Yep.
the one that, okay, I have.
So there's something added in here that isn't in the other one,
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's different.
but do we know why?
Its only purpose was the natural space has not changed.
Yeah,
The only purpose was, there was a question of what can be mowed once a year and and we dealt with that in the last meeting, and you said you didn't care about what was within the horseshoe, that wasn't your concern. Your
Right.
concern was the other. So this memorializes exactly what we talked about in the
Right.
last meeting.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that if we're going another 3 weeks, that this isn't
Correct.
going to change, and this is what we can give you, because this is what you had asked us to provide.
yes.
So, I just want to be crystal clear. In submission number 5, sheet 9 of 10 has a revision date of May 20th, revision number 6. The plan that you're referencing tonight on the screen has a revision date, revision number 7
Right.
with a 6/3/25. It's that June 3rd revised plan that you're going to insert into the revised set of plans.
Yes, and I'm going to just verify
Phase
the
page.
values that Mimi had identified earlier tonight
Yeah.
and make sure that there's no
They match.
discrepancy, correct?
But basically, that
Yeah.
plan
But
with
What's
revision.
also important is the fence. The fences of our abutters, we showed that. We don't want to put another fence next to their fence. That just makes no sense.
Okay, so
So,
you're replacing that. You're
Yeah,
getting
so that we
from
we
you.
identified it. We wanted you to be aware of it, so we could
So the planning
ensure that.
board is okay so far with the new plan, except for the discrepancy in the square footage,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, so the basis of Bill's covenant that's going to get drafted is this plan. That's what he's really trying to emphasize here, is that we're not going to change this. You're not looking for us to change this.
No,
Yeah,
I'm,
okay.
I'm good.
All right, thank
So I was looking at that when I reviewed the plans, but
you. Okay.
I'm old and I forgot.
But so you still feel we need to continue, even though we're good with this, because it's just a narrative that's going to, the open space will be nothing more than a narrative that will state what's in the
Well, there
future.
should be a covenant that the HOA has that's very specific on how the open space is treated.
Yes, which will be reflected by
Yeah.
this document.
With the
Yeah.
revised.
So this will be like Exhibit A or whatever.
No, that's in the plan set.
Right, but what will
But
be
in the
attached,
covenant, you have to
in
attach
that
it to the
covenant, you'd probably want this attached, so somebody is looking at a covenant and can say, oh, in the last page, there's this
Yeah.
attached to the narrative. Would that, I mean, that's what we did the last time, was we did exactly this, and basically gave you a narrative to all of this with meets and bounds and the whole piece.
And that would be the covenant, correct? So we just want your legal write-up of the restriction with that attached, once it's fixed with the couple numbers you had to fix.
Yeah, so the one thing, Karina, that I don't want to do here, because this is the only drawing that got issued. So if this was draft for exhibit purposes, and you can reference that 6/3 date, 6/3 doesn't exist other than for this one plan.
Right.
If we're going to, because I'm going to
You're gonna
incorporate the
do a new
comments from
set
tonight,
of-
there'll be a date, probably
Whatever
June
you finish 'em.
24th, 5th, whatever date we start putting on
Yep.
the plans. That is going to be revision
Plan
7.
date, Right.
Right, 7 was only just a.
Interim.
Interim, exactly. I just want to make sure we're
Got
talking
it,
the same
Because you
way.
still have to just tweak it a little
I,
bit.
exactly, and I have all the other sheets. We're not going to just start putting numbers.
No, we'll say, we'll just,
It's just for this
that
one
was a
exhibit.
working number 7.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And then based on Ms. Houlihan's comment, you had made the comment about almost like a mock vote piece to create some level of, bring the anxiety level down here a little bit. Is that still appropriate?
Like right now?
That's what Ms. Houlihan was
I mean,
suggesting.
whether I would vote yes at this time before we've seen the decision?
No,
Before we've
with
been
the
able to-
decision and this not be, this not being changed. So in other words, we're happy with this, just memorialize it correctly within the restriction. And a straw poll.
Preliminary straw poll of how the planning board members feel at this point, to give you a level of confidence for the next meeting.
Yes.
And you'll all be available in 3 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, good,
Nobody's going on vacation or,
because we obviously need 4
Never.
votes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, I mean, I think this is a great project. I'm not ready to vote yes tonight.
I understand that.
Okay. But I'm fine.
Okay. There isn't anything that we have not answered, other than what was been spoken about. I guess those are that's where I stand.
That's it.
I'm just trying to get, that's the bottom,
That's
what
it.
I'm trying to get to. Okay.
For me, Ms. Houlihan.
Yeah, so based on our conversations, your commitment to everything we've talked about, this draft, open space, I would vote yes, assuming we get there with all the conditions on the next meeting.
Mr. Murray.
I'm supportive as well. I think it's going in the right direction. I really thank you for the work that you guys have done, patience with the board, but also with the butters. I think it really goes a long way. And I would support the project.
And Ms. Braccio.
I also would support the project and appreciate all the conversations that have taken place up until now.
Thank you.
So I guess we would need to sign an extension up until, I think it's here, that we said we would sign today to the July 18th, is that right? With the meeting,
Yes.
it's the July
The
14th.
July 14th meeting.
And at that
decision
point, the
date.
decision would be written, so it wouldn't be,
So the meaning of that extension form is to continue the meeting, the public hearing for that, but also, we set up another day, 4 days later, because in the winter, if it snows, or if there's some kind of issue where the townhouse closes, the planning board can still post a meeting to reconvene, to
And not
act.
be, and still be within that deadline.
okay.
So the
I
vote
understand.
is an action that
The
has
vote's- the
to be
vote's the
done by that point. But the decision, if there's any tweaking, it may need some, just, finalize this from the
Right,
last
right.
meeting, and then it's done.
And we're going to try and share that decision
Yes.
between now and then, so that
That's my
in
goal.
theory and in hope,
Yes.
we're at a meeting of the minds.
Yeah, we're,
Yes.
that's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So
thank
then
you.
the next one will be quick.
I like quick.
Well, that's what we say.
That's the intention.
Actions speak louder than words sometimes, but I'll make a motion for 26 Meadow Lane, Reservoir Meadows, major site plan approval to continue the public hearing to July 14th at 7:10 PM. I'm also going to make the motion to continue the public hearing for 26 Meadow Lane, Reservoir Meadows, special permit lower impact development for 7:10 PM on July 14th.
And the MRD, the special permit.
Oh, yes, and you're right. And the third one is the 26 Meadow Lane, Reservoir Meadows, special permit, major residential development, flexible development, continued to 7:10 PM on July 14th.
Yeah, I second all three.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brashear, yes.
I make a motion to extend the decision due date for 26 Meadow Lane, Reservoir Meadow for major site plan approval, special permit lower impact, and special permit major residential development, flexible development to July 18th, 2025.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brashear, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know it takes a while, but it's going to be fantabulous.
Do it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill, Peter, and I will get that to you ASAP.
It's supposed to be 10 minutes to the other town, but it went a lot longer.
When do they ever go just 10 minutes?
Peter, are you not staying for 2 weeks, right? You can-
No, I thought I already sent the continue to, yeah, all right.
Let me see, but you didn't sign it.
Thought I emailed it.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing, 2 East Main Street, major site plan approval, and 2 East Main Street, special permit downtown district multifamily building. And the proponent has asked that this be continued without testimony.
I make a motion to continue the public hearing for 2 East Main Street multifamily building major site plan approval and 2 East Main Street multifamily building special permit downtown district to July 14th at 7:10 PM.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brashear, yes.
I make a motion to continue the decision due date for 2 East Main Street multifamily MSPA and SPDD extended to July 18th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor. Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brashear, yes.
And that brings us to planners report. So next meeting, we should close out the 2 hearings that, that Alan couldn't participate in because he's new, and then you'll be full-fledged.
Update you on upcoming applications. We have a major site plan application for a change of use at 118 Turnpike for a back nine golf practice facility moving into, yeah. All right, so they're slated for the ZBA to get the use permitted there, and then the site plan, no exterior work. I'll be getting that application tomorrow, and we'll put it in the paper for the next meeting. Before I go to that, at some point, when we have a little bandwidth, we're going to transition from Dropbox to OneDrive, just so you know, and it's very similar, so we'll get you that information, and it'll be the link and everything like that. The warrant opened on June 17th. I'll give the placeholders to Mark Purple for the ADU, and then also for the IP district expanded uses, right?
So that's what we, ADU in the IP district expanded uses for November town
Yes.
meeting. Okay.
Okay. Warrant article placeholders. Okay, I got that one. OneDrive.
Madam Chair, may I just ask, I have a couple of things that I'm working on for next meeting. Potentially, would some of those be eligible for fall town meeting, or would you want them in the spring? So they're not really being discussed here tonight, but would we have the opportunity in July to decide if they'd be eligible for,
When do they close the warrant? The end of July?
The warrant
September?
is going to close
Oh, yeah.
okay,
no later, so that, if you will be seeking to place an article on the warrant, please submit any request to me as soon as possible, but no later than September 1st, 2025. The Select Board is tentatively set to sign the final warrant at their October 7th meeting. So it goes very fast.
I know, just when it's open, it nearly closes, so I wanted to ask, okay.
All right, so, but it's open now, so the faster everything gets put together and we can get it into them, then they refer it back to the planning board, then we can open the public hearings for any zoning amendments. Okay. Dropbox, I told you. Posting of revised agendas, town clerk had some new requirements on what we put in that, and if you have any questions on that, let me know.
Corinne, I just want to say, I know you've been doing a lot of that anyway, and I just want to say, I hope that, like, people have really recognized that so that they're not wasting their time sitting here if something's being, moved to a different date or something's been postponed or something like that. So
Yeah,
I
it's been-
appreciate what you've been doing. I think
Oh,
it's really
thank you.
helpful.
It's been collaborative. Colleen and I and Mimi, we catch those things and we try and put them in, so, to help,
That's great.
not just me.
Yeah, we got some good feedback on the likely to be continued, so we're trying to see, do we have the information in? Will it be heard?
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep up with that, yeah.
And with the extension requests. I was contacted by MapLink to find out if the planning board had time to schedule a demo, but right now that MapLink is kind of on the fence in generally, so I don't know if you want to spend the time right now because we're super busy, but if it does come to fruition where they're really actively pursuing it, then we could maybe jump on it again. And I'll let them know because time is of the essence right now. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, I spoke to Mimi about, and I put something into the personnel board because they needed, with Mimi's permission, to ask if the planning board would be on board with advocating a grade increase for me. So currently I'm a grade 7 and I could go to grade 8 and it would put me in at a place where I'd have more steps for growth. So it has to go to the personnel board and then to town meeting. So I'll work on what I need to get to the personnel board and let you know. So if the planning board is okay with it.
Okay? Are you okay with that, Lisa?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Freddie Gillespie had, Open Space Preservation Commission Chair had provided some native plant recommendations, so eventually we'll have to get that here where Freddie can be here to speak to it. I'm carrying that so we don't forget to put that up at some point. I had, Lucas Environmental did the field visits for this year's monitoring, open space monitoring, and I know Joe Orzel from Lucas, he's been working on it, and as soon as that draft report comes in, I will forward it to everybody to look at and to Freddie as well. But that has to be substantially completed by June 30th, and it usually is. And then it's just the presentation to the planning board that gets delayed a little bit. In the zoning map, CAI Technologies is working on the GIS for the MBTA communities to show those overlays. Then there was an Atlantic Management request for potential bylaw update. We're waiting to receive any information on any zoning amendments or anything that someone's proposing.
So I received an email from the Select Board Chair saying they were going to invite Atlantic Management to the Select Board meeting on the July 15th and asked if we would like to attend. I responded saying we have a joint meeting on the 14th because we're going to accept the housing production plan. We're having a joint meeting, the Planning Board and the Select Board, at our 14th meeting. But he wanted them to present at a Select Board meeting. And he also said there's going to be no discussion or deliberation, and then they'll refer any bylaw that they get here. So the question is, do we want to post a meeting, or do we just want to watch it on Zoom at our leisure? If there's no discussion or deliberation, I don't know what the point of being at a meeting is.
Did they say why there's going to be no discussion or deliberation?
No.
Who did you say? they'll be-
Select Board Chair.
I mean, is it a consultant they're working with?
So it's the people who bought 2 of the Dell properties.
Oh.
And they've done work in Marlborough and Westboro.
And the developer's proposing changes to our bylaw to make their project fit?
Yeah, so it's the IP district. I haven't seen anything. I guess what they want to do, whatever that is, doesn't fit in the IP. Evidently, it's not someplace for a night watchman. So I don't know what it is. But I was going to ask Mr. Dennington if he's seen a bylaw or anything. Because Karina and I met with their attorney that was asking what the process is for a zoning update, and I was stressed, get it to us as soon as possible, because we don't like having hearings in the summertime, because people are all away, and it does lacks a public process and transparency. So get it quick, we can look at it, and then start the hearing process.
You may just have a question. So we're planning to update the uses for industrial park. So is it possible we're updating it and one of those uses might be on there?
Yes.
Oh, well, then could we not invite them to one of our meetings so they can talk to the board that is responsible for zoning? Because, I mean, I don't mind that they have a proposal. I'd like to hear about it, and I'm sure maybe they're going to talk about it at the select board. But if they're making a proposal to the zoning code, they're maybe talking to the wrong board.
I mentioned that. So Mr. Dennington's email said, I'm writing to let you know I plan to invite the Atlantic team to make a public presentation regarding their proposed zoning change at the July 15th Select Board meeting. Their presentation should be informal in nature, not intended as a discussion or deliberation. Select Board would then vote to refer the proposed zoning change to the Planning Board for public hearings and report with recommendations to town meeting. I invite the Planning Board to attend. And I responded that we're having a joint meeting. Wouldn't it make more sense to come on the 14th? And the response was, since Atlantic's request was to make the initial presentation to the Select Board, I'm going to keep Atlantic Select Board meeting on July 15th. Planning is welcome to attend.
Can I ask a question, Mimi?
Yep.
So a presentation is being done at a public meeting, but there's no discussion or deliberation. Isn't that the antithesis of a public meeting?
Well, I'm assuming that the Select Board will have to have a discussion if they're going to vote to refer the bylaw to the Planning Board. I'm assuming they don't want any discussion from the Planning Board.
Okay.
So it's not a public hearing, it's a discussion item, so they're not required to hear from us.
No, but it's
Unless
just
we
crazy.
post a meeting, I would think would have to be able to speak, I don't know.
I just think to have a presentation and not be able, the public even, to not be able to ask a question, just doesn't make a lot of sense. And then to vote to send something to planning board, so, yeah, that's okay, though. Thank you.
What is the process then? So they refer, so let's say they don't even maybe they don't even discuss it. Maybe they just take it directly from the proponent or whatever. What's the process when it comes over to us? Do we vote to accept, do we open a public hearing right away, or do we discuss it as a board first and vote whether we're going to accept it?
Well, I would hope to discuss it as a board first, because as you mentioned, perhaps one of the uses that we're proposing is what they want to do.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to have two bylaw changes doing the same thing.
Okay.
So I will ask Mr. Dennington if he's seen a copy of the bylaw. I think it would be helpful if he has to share it with the board, because the sooner we can discuss it, the better. And I would hope to not open the hearing till our August 18th meeting, and then we'll have at least 3 before November. So do we want to go as a board to a meeting with no deliberation or discussion, or just watch it? I just want to know whether I should post a meeting or not.
I would probably plan on attending, because if I'm going to be helping write this IP bylaw, I will definitely go.
I would post a meeting, Mimi, just to be on the safe
Okay,
side.
so if I post it and we don't have a quorum, then we don't have a meeting, no big deal.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking is, and have not fully thought it through, is there a disadvantage if we do show up as a board versus showing up individually and not meeting, or attending remotely and not officially meeting as a board? I don't know, I'm just thinking it through.
If 3 show up, it's a quorum.
In person?
Or on Zoom. I think it doesn't matter.
We
So-
just can't speak at all, which I don't think we're going to be allowed to anyway.
Right. Okay.
Who would sponsor the proposed article?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm just wondering if this is being handed to us and we can't do anything about it?
No, we have,
Or it becomes ours and so they need to talk to us at some point. I mean, select board aside, maybe they're going to make a presentation, but maybe the message back to Mr. Dennington is that if it's a zoning change that they're interested in, they need to talk to the board that, is responsible for that.
I can just, add, like, per the DHCD guidelines for zoning amendments, certain entities can propose a bylaw amendment, whether it's citizens petition or a commission or planning board, select board, et cetera. So what happens is the select board kind of was initiating this. So they're going to find out more about it in a public scenario. And then if the select board, the requirement is that they refer it to the planning board so the planning board can hold a public hearing, because the planning board has to have a public hearing for zoning amendments. So the normal step would be they discuss it and hear it, and then it goes to the planning board for public hearing, and at that point, the planning board deliberates whether they support it or not, et cetera. But again, it's a good question, who's sponsoring it? That would be,
so through the hearing process, we take public comment, we have comments, things can change.
that's right. They can change, so, and if you recall, like with the downtown district, things really changed there a lot based on back and forth. And the select board had been the sponsor for that one. And then in the end, planning board was the committee, the board that promulgated the design guidelines to fashion it to what they expect for that district. Kind of going off tangent here, but they have to refer it to the planning board. So the question is, when do they invite the planning board to start being part of the discussion so that they can get already a heads up? Because with with the downtown district, we had several just discussion meetings to talk about the direction it's going in, to not waste time. But there were so many things there happening. Just my take on it.
Okay, so we'll post a meeting. Do you have that, Colleen?
Yes, I do.
Post a meeting for the 15th?
Yes.
Anything else? That's the end of planners report, right?
Yes, and we have meeting minutes.
And we have meeting minutes.
So I make a motion to approve the May 19th Planning Board meeting minutes.
A second?
I have a motion and a second for discussion. Line 61 is the chair of the Open Space Preservation Commission. I think it says Concom.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Any more discussion on 519? All in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes?
Belniak, yes?
I make a motion to approve the June 2nd Planning Board meeting minutes.
Second?
For discussion. My OCD really shines. On line 78, replace meeting with hearing. So the subdivision regulations require a hearing, not just a meeting. Yeah. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes?
Belniak, yes?
I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting with our next meeting July 14th.
A second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Latrell, yes?
Houlihan, yes?
Demiria, yes.
Brascio, yes?
Belniak, yes?
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you all. Have a good